And
Actually, it was a delightful surprise. Naturally, we'd known Jim Constanti as a person, and this added excitement to the World Series. It gave you something. For example, you and I getting on the air, whatever sport, it gives you something out of the ordinary to talk about. It's like an actor walking out on the stage with a good part to bite his teeth into.
And of course, it turned out Constanti pitched a great game. He lost 1-0, right?
By one run, that's right.
So it's happened before where you start a guy like Larry Gura, and of course, that's something that people are going to write about and write about. Now, if Gura pitches and wins, well, Larry Gura, he'll become the most famous name in the country overnight, which is a great thing about sports. All you have to do is produce.
He'll become another Bo Belinsky in one sense, not out in the away from the field activities. I don't mean to say that, but talking about surprise starters long before my time, but naturally,
we all read about it.
You do research and you remember things. It was when the late great Connie Mack, one of the greatest managers of all time, I believe it was in 1929. I don't think you were even born yet, John. I've been around a little bit, but
I wasn't even a twinkle.
I think I was about to start kindergarten. But in any case,
my dad was in short pants at the time, as a matter of fact. Although very promiscuous.
Here against the Chicago Cubs, and I believe Charlie Root, the man whose name will always be famous for the so-called story about Babe Ruth pointing to him and pointing to the fact that he was going to hit the home run and did. But Connie Mack saved up a fellow who was toward the end of his career named Howard Emke, whom a lot of the fans, the veteran fans, will remember, and even the younger fans. You know one thing about the younger fans, they know.
I know.
They study, boy.
I know. Everyone
can trip you up.
But everyone reads the history, baseball history, who's a baseball fan.
And the most interesting thing to me, though, and Emke won that ball game, the most interesting thing to me this summer, on a between Yankee game doubleheader show for Emory, I interviewed Bertie Tibbetts, who's now, a top troubleshooter for the Yankees. And I talked about the only playoff game in the history of the American League. The Red Sox had knocked the Yankees out on a Saturday. They won on Sunday. Cleveland lost, and therefore they wound up in a tie, and they had the one-game playoff on Monday at Fenway Park. And the man that Joe McCarthy, then manager of the Red Sox, started, to the true shock of everyone, was Denny Galehouse. And I just nonchalantly, as Yogi Berra might say, asked Bertie, why did Joe start Dennis Galehouse? None of us ever really got the answer. And Bertie's reply was, there are only two people who know the answer to that. I happen to be one. And unless the other person ever gives you the answer, nobody will ever know.
Is that right?
Now, that aroused my curiosity, and I have talked to different people from time to time, because he left me and he wasn't pulling my leg.
Why didn't you call up Joe McCarthy?
I did call Joe, but not since I did the interview. See, Joe was just, not long ago celebrated his 89th birthday, and I know what his answer would be, because I had done an interview with Joe last year, and I said, Joe, I have to ask you a question. I knew what his answer was going to be. As you know, sometimes we ask questions because the fans want you to ask them, even though you know the answer. But I said, you managed the Yankees and the Red Sox. Who was the greatest, Ted Williams or Joe DiMaggio? And, of course, his answer was, they were both great. When I managed the Yankees, DiMaggio was, and I managed the Red Sox, Williams was. So I know that he would not give me the answer.
Now I got to find out.
Isn't that amazing?
I got to ask somebody.
That's been bothering me.
I'm going to ask Rizzuto or somebody who was around then about why Galehouse started. The odd thing is, in that one-game memorable playoff, the Indians started a left-hander, which is suicide in Fenway Park.
A former Yankee.
Gene Bearden. And wasn't there a story that Boudreau, playing manager, said to some of those veteran players. He had a lot of veterans, right? Gordon and Keltner and guys like that. And he said, look, if you disagree with me, please tell me. And I thought, if it's true, it's a great line back saying, you brought us through 154 games.
Right.
I'm going to let you manage one more, which is only... Right. We have to get to a couple of commercials, but I'm going to...
Else we wouldn't be here.
But I am going to give the fans a moment of trivia because I'm going to ask Mel about the next year after Cincinnati, about another unexpected starter who started a World Series against the Yankees and beat him in the first game. And I wonder in the next minute or two while we go to some commercials whether you fans will remember who that pitcher is. We're going to get back with more of this playoff preview program right after this from Emory Air Freight.
Voice recorder on. Oxygen masks on.
You're listening to the sound of one of the world's great air forces.
Hydraulic systems on and checked.
An air force with more planes at its disposal than Russia or even America.
Ground equipment clear.
An air force that flies more often and to more places than any airline in the world. Yet an air force that doesn't have a single plane to its name. It's Emory Air Freight. At Emory, instead of having a fleet of planes at our disposal, we have a fleet of airlines. For we reserve space on key flights of practically every airline carrying freight. And we use hundreds of offline commuter and charter planes where airline service is weak. We also have thousands of people, thousands of trucks, and hundreds of offices waiting for us on the ground.
Control, this is 463, ready for takeoff.
The next time you have a package to ship, don't just ship it with an air freight company or even a package-only airline. Ship it with an Air Force. Emory, the shortest distance between 2 points.
The next time you have an appetite for fine French food, go directly to the Peacock Alley located in the Waldorf Astoria in New York and carte blanche it. Peacock Alley is one of the many great restaurants in New York where your carte blanche card will allow you to spoil, indulge, and treat yourself to the kind of food that nobody can make at home. Dinner always tastes a little better when you have it with style with your carte blanche card, because people know that carte blanche denotes more than an average measure of distinction and taste. With a carte blanche card, you can travel with style, too. You can carte blanche your airline tickets, carte blanche your rented car, carte blanche your hotel bill, and even carte blanche a vacation tour through Cartan Tours. Keep your card with you wherever you go and carte blanche your way through over 250,000 doors across the country, including the Peacock Alley restaurant. Carte blanche it. You'll know you're going first class, and so will everyone else, too. We're beginning talking about the game this afternoon between the Royals and the Yankees. Larry Gura, the surprise starter, if you will. I guess he isn't too much of a surprise pitching for KC. Certainly Catfish Hunter, not a surprise pitching for the Yankees. And there was very much of a Gura-type pitcher who started for the Giants in '51. Now, the reason there, too, is because of the playoff series between the Giants and the Dodgers. Thought they were in a great pennant race the year before. They were in a better one in '51.
Right. And
lost, of course, with Thompson's home run. And I guess you know the smell. I forget what the day was, just a couple of days ago or so. It was 25 years ago. Seems.
Time just really, I don't care what business you're in, or time just has a way of really going by in a hurry. It just seems like yesterday. I think what you're getting at was the opening game was at Yankee Stadium.
Right.
And people often talked about the Yankees getting an advantage during the course of that series because there was a rain out. But anyway, that opening game was started. When you talk about Gura, I think one of the reasons that they are starting, I think two reasons. Well, primarily the one being a left-hander, and the Yankees' power, their strength offensively is left-handed. At Yankee Stadium, wherever possible, naturally, it's the way your pitching staff broke. But in order to gain balance, that was the way they tried to make their trades or bring up men or develop pitchers. But they, for example, in the many series that the Yankees and the Dodgers had with one another, if the series opened, let's say at Ebbets Field, let's say Stengel, he would start his right-handers, Rashi and Reynolds, and he would open the Yankee Stadium with Lopat and Ford. Or if it was just the other way around, he would open low Patton Ford in games 1 and 2.
Sure.
And start his right-handers at Ebbets Field. So the Giants under DeRocher started Dave Coslow. Was that the one you're...
Right, sure.
Dave Coslow, a very fine fellow whom I got to know. We used to do home games of Giants and Yankees. After ball games, you get out, you meet the players, you get to know them real well. He had a good curveball and a sneaky fastball. And with the short porch at Yankee Stadium, if you had a left-hander that was, a starter, a good man, you would open up with him. And so they opened with Dave Coslow. And he beat the Yankees.
Yeah. And I guess everyone...
he beat Reynolds, I believe.
I'm sure in that case that the big Giant starters, Jansen, Magley, and Hearn, had probably pitched every day going down the stretch anyway.
Oh, sure.
But they found a left-hander.
More rested, right.
And pitched him, and he won the game. And the Yankees were in trouble in that series with starting pitching, and they finally got a rainout, which gave, I guess, Reynolds an extra day to come back. And then they went on and won the last 3 games.
I talked to Allie about that. He said naturally the extra day's rest helped. He said I didn't have anything at all to begin with the opening day, but he says, in a short, when you have to have it, you reach back a little something extra.
Yeah.
Because you have all winter to rest.
I was going to think that's people keep making that point, and you hear the same line repeated in baseball over the years, Mel. And I guess people assume that, well, if they haven't had that day off, Reynolds would have gone out and gotten bombed. He may have gone out and pitched a no-hitter, right?
Sure.
That's the unpredictable. Anyway, that's what we were getting at the very beginning.
Like Larson, he got bombed and came back and pitched the perfect game.
Right.
And subsequently, in the years to follow, he got bombed again.
Yeah.
In 2 different ways.
Yeah. Well, actually, Larson said that himself in his first series start, which was in Ebbets Field, which had to be the greatest hitter's park of all time. He knew he was going to start, and Casey had told him that, and he had allegedly gone home and gone to bed early or whatever. And he went out and got murdered. And then before his next start, which was in Yankee Stadium in the pivotal 5th game, as they say, he went out and enjoyed himself the night before. And I don't know to what extent.
Well, pardon my interrupting, but according to Arthur Richmond, I believe, who was with him, he dropped him off the hotel around midnight. They had a couple of beers. He got a paper and supposed to have gone up to his room shortly after midnight and had gotten a good night's rest for a change. And I've talked to Richmond a lot of times since, and he claims that was a true story. So he can't tell what happened after he got into the hotel, left him off early.
Did you get as excited during that game and describing Larson's perfect game as in any other game, or more so than any other game?
Well, inwardly, yes. Inwardly or outwardly. I had, from an announcer's standpoint, the misfortune, let us say, or the good fortune, of having done the first half of the game.
Right.
We rotate.
Right.
And it was my turn to do the first half of that particular game, so that I did not have to worry about the description of the last half, although I'll be very frank to say I wish I had.
Sure.
But it is the only time when the 3rd strike was called on Dale Mitchell, when Babe Pinelli's right hand went up, strike 3 called, I jumped up out of my seat in the broadcasting booth and literally yelled along with the 70-odd thousand people at Yankee Stadium, because after all it was unprecedented. It was just fantastic. Whatever nails I had were bitten down. At that particular point, there was no partisanship involved. It was just the sheer enjoyment of watching an athlete, a human being, achieved something that nobody else had ever achieved in the history of the sport.
You know, that's really, I didn't mean to get into this. It just happened that way. But we're talking about how, while we're staying away on this preview program of the first game of the playoffs, from doing this thing of, well, who do you think is better and what, because...
We could do that in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to go position by position because it doesn't mean anything. Because it's a guy like Larson who had no history of success.
Right.
He had a lot of talent, but he had no history of success and pitched a perfect game. Dusty Rhodes, Sandy Amorose, never considered a good outfielder. In fact, Amorose had dropped a couple of balls, and Newcomb had knocked him in the newspapers before that, and
he won the World Series. First time the Dodgers ever won a World
Bobby
title.
Richardson, a singles hitter, collecting all those homers and RBIs.
Right.
There's no way of telling. That's kind of a pretty good illustration of what can happen in these few games. Someone you haven't heard of before.
You know, talking about Sandy Amorose, one guy never got as much credit as I thought he ought to in that particular play was the little Colonel, Pee Wee Reese. Billy Martin, of all people now, when I say of all people, I mean now that he's manager, and when you talk about how time really goes by, he was on second base. Gil McDougall was on first base. It was the 7th game of the World Series. Nobody out. And Yogi Berra, the batter. And the outfield overshifted on it. The game being played at Yankee Stadium. And it was the last game of the series. That is game number 7. Casey used to tell Yogi, he said, if you see him ever overshift on you to an extreme degree, he said, take a shot at left field. Once in a while, Yogi did. I suddenly looked up, you know, in setting a defense as you're describing the play on the air. And here was Amorose moving over another few steps, and he was almost playing center field. In any case, we were on television. The camera was not on it, but I didn't have time to have, get the director to put the camera on that because here comes the pitch in a moment or so. I just went ahead and described something that people couldn't see on camera. I said, Sandy Amorose is playing further toward center field than any left fielder I have ever seen play Yogi Berra. I said, left field is just wide open. And went ahead with that, and sure enough, he hits this ball down the left field line. And from where we sat, we could see that it was going to drop fairly, although it was a high fly ball. Billy Martin naturally could play it safe. On his way toward third base, he could go as far as he recognized he could in case of an exceptional catch and still get back to second. But McDougall, he took off and was going full steam because he knew that ball was going to drop. Pee Wee Reese is the man I'm talking about. He rushes out into short left, as is the shortstop's requirement to take a relay, whether the ball's caught or not. But on his way running out there watching, I saw him take a quick look over his shoulder without losing any speed to see where McDougall was, and he saw him running full tilt. Well, Amorose makes this sensational catch, being left-handed, sticking out his glove right at the foul line. He whirled and threw to Reese, and Pee Wee, without even looking, with that so-called third eye in the back of his head, he whirled and fired that ball to Gil Hodges. McDougall, in the meantime, had touched second, had to retouch it and race back, and so the double play occurred, and that enabled Padres to go on and hold his 2-0 lead. Instead of 2 runs scoring, and the lead run in scoring position, that was it, and the Dodgers won it 2-0.
Now, that ball had bounced. It certainly would have been 2-2 with a man on second.
Easily. Or he could have made third.
If the ball had stayed in the field.
Yeah.
Was the ball going to be a fair ball?
Oh, yes, no question about it.
And
It was going to hit right inside the line because we could see it.
Right.
It wasn't no curve to it, anything. And it was entirely possible that had Amorose been one step short, it would have kicked up against the barrier and bounded by him, and Yogi might have gotten a triple.
That's what's great about sports. Who knows? Fraction of inches one way or the other. And, of course, and everyone knows this story who's a great baseball fan. Junior Gilliam had started the game
in left field, right?
And was a right-hand thrower, so he had the glove on the other hand.
Good point.
And he had been pulled into the infield. I think they took Robinson out or Hoke out. I think Robbie was hurt.
Right.
Maybe Hoke was playing or Zimmer was playing, one of those two. And they brought Gilliam in to play the infield and put Ambrose in left field, and he had the glove on the other hand, and he made the catch. You know what? Don't you love it when you hear phone calls on my program? Some managers are genius and some aren't.
Well, a guy like Walt Alston is a great manager. I'm sorry to see him depart the scene, but he himself or his coaches, I know Casey, delegated authority. Frank Cressetti would jump up out of the dugout and move a man over a step or two. He wouldn't wait and talk to Casey about it. But they'd look all these things over, and if they saw, for example, Ambrose too far out of position, I think they'd have moved him over.
But that was
they knew Amorose's speed and knew that he could cheat in reverse, let us say.
Yeah.
He had the speed to move further over.
But that was rather fortuitous, having a
yes.
left-hand thrower, in other words, a glove on the right hand, the inning that Berra hit it, and no one knew that.
That's right. I'm glad you brought up the fact that Gilliam had been in left field, and
those things, who knows? That's a great thing about sports. You don't know. That's the beauty of describing games and being involved in sports. You know it's going to come to an end, and something is going to happen, and no one knows what's going to happen. And when you're involved in world problems or politics, nothing ever happens. Just talking to death.
I think it was Jimmy the Greek, wasn't it, the other day? He said, at least, whether he meant it or not, he'll give you the odds and whatnot, but he's not going to bet on them himself.
Our playoff preview is being brought to you by Carte Blanche and Emery Air Freight, and we'll be back with more with Mel right after this from Emery.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the friendly skies of United. This is Flight 917 to Chicago, and we should arrive on schedule.
Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Eastern Airlines, the airline that has the right time and the right place for you. This is Flight 15 to Miami, and
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TWA Flight 463 to Indianapolis. We'll be flying at an altitude of about 35,000 feet.
At Emery Air Freight, instead of having a fleet of planes at our command, we have a fleet of airlines, because Emery reserves space on key flights of practically every airline that carries freight. What's more, we use hundreds of offline commuter and charter planes where airline service is weak or non-existent. So when you ship a package with Emery, it can go anywhere the big airlines can go, and a lot of places they can't go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Get yourself up, go Ozark. And this Ozark flight will be going to Waterloo, Iowa.
Emery Air Freight, the shortest distance between 2 points.
The next time you have an appetite for fine continental food, go directly to Sardi's at 234th West 44th Street in New York and Carte Blanche it. Sardi's is one of the many great restaurants in New York where your Carte Blanche card will allow you to spoil, indulge, and treat yourself to the kind of food nobody can make at home. Dinner always tastes a little better when you have it with style with your Carte Blanche card, because people know Carte Blanche denotes more than an average measure of distinction and taste. With a Carte Blanche card, you can travel with style, too. You can Carte Blanche your airline tickets, Carte Blanche your rented car, Carte Blanche your hotel bill, even Carte Blanche a vacation tour through Cartan Tours. Keep your card with you wherever you go and Carte Blanche your way through over 250,000 doors across the country, including Sardi's restaurant. Carte Blanche it. You'll know you're going first class, and so will everyone else, too. The playoff preview, and we are rapidly approaching game time. Catfish Hunter for the Yanks and Larry Gura for the Royals. That's kind of admission that Billy Hunter and Catfish came out with that through most of the season, that Hunter's had an inflamed tendon. And I know as an announcer, if you want to get close to the team, and I do basketball and hockey, and of course you've done every sport, Mel, those are things you really have to keep secret. And if you don't, you never find out anything that's going on. And obviously the Yankees kept that a pretty good secret during the year.
They kept it a very good secret. You hear a rumble here or there that something is wrong, and then you try to check further into it. Do you know that there was only one time in all the years I had the privilege of doing baseball games that I ever got a real exclusive and couldn't do anything about it? until something happened. And that was in the World Series between the Yankees and the Braves. They played 2 in a row in 57 and 58. It was in 58. Red Schoendienst, who just got dismissed as manager of the Cardinals, was playing second base for the Braves. They tried a pickoff play on Mickey Mantle, who was on second. Mickey dove back in headlong, safe, but Schoendienst, the way the ball was thrown, fell dead weight on Mickey, and the way Mickey dove back in head first, jammed his right shoulder into the ground. But the game continued. Anyway, I had breakfast the next morning with Tom Greenwade, the great scout. Scouted to the Dodgers, and of course the Yankees. He was the guy that signed Mickey. And we were great friends, and I had stopped at his farm on the way from an all-star game in St. Louis, driving to Kansas City. And we got to be good friends. Anyway, we're having breakfast, and he tells me in all confidence, it's like a lawyer-client relationship, that Mickey couldn't even raise his right arm that morning, couldn't even comb his hair. But he said he's going to start. But of course, this is something you must not tell anyone, so both of us will be fired, you know.
Right.
It so happened that the game was so close. It was either in the 9th or 10th inning. The Braves got a runner on second base. And when that guy got to second base, Mantle called time, or someone called time, and Mantle came running off the field, disappeared into the dugout. And then when he was replaced by someone else, I felt I was released from that relationship that I'd had with Greenwade, from the secrecy of the situation. Because somebody had to explain it, and I knew that after the game was over that the writers were going to go down to the clubhouse and find out what had happened. Mm-hmm. And having already known what had happened, I went ahead and told the people over the air for the first time. But I had kept it a complete secret until then. And boy, the press people in the press, they started getting calls from AP and UP. I mean, I hate to use the word, but all hell broke loose.
Right.
And when they found out where it came from, because they were watching the TVs, mm-hmm. It was the only time in my life I ever had a true exclusive. And
broke it.
And don't you think the Yankees didn't ask me how I came to know about it and why I told about it? But they were satisfied, mm-hmm. and in fact, they wound up giving me a little pat on the back.
That was, I guess that must have been the 6th game when you went back out to Milwaukee and won the 6th to tie the series?
Well, that was a tremendous series.
Gee.
Yankees were down 3-1. You talk about things that happen. How much time we got now? I haven't been looking at the clock.
Can you do it in 30 seconds?
Easily.
All right.
Elston Howard, the catcher, is put in left field by Casey Stengel because he needed a right-hand hitter in the lineup.
Right.
He was slow, but he made a diving catch of a ball that saved the game and the World Series, and the Braves were leading 3-1, so I made it 3-2, and the Yankees go out there into Milwaukee and win 2 games in a row with Turley and Duran, 2 wild men throwing nothing but strikes.
Right.
Now, you try and figure it out and predict it.
Right. In fact, I think Duran gave me a kick. I was so nervous and so worried about the Yankees losing the series, and I know you'll remember this. I thought that guy's going to be the coolest guy in the world, Ryan Duran. He was pitching, and he was running into trouble in the 9th inning. Last of the 9th, the score was tied, and the Yanks were hoping it would go to extra innings. Braves get a run, the series is over. Threw a pitch, it was called a ball. He didn't like it. He stalked up the mound and put his hand to his throat in the classic choke sign. Here I'm worried, and this guy is giving the umpire hell. And he got out of the inning, and Charlie saved the game in the next inning.
Right.
Great
that was
memories.
his Cy Young award.
Yeah, he was great.
Charlie.
Great that year. We're going to get back with more right after this from Emory Air Freight.
Have you ever gone to the airport to get your package on a plane?
Taxi! to the airport, please.
I don't know what it is about this cab, but it just refuses to go to the airport at rush hour. Probably afraid of planes.
Taxi!
When you finally get there, you're almost sorry you did.
Could either of you gentlemen tell me where the World International Counter is?
Sure, it's right over that way.
No, Charlie, it's over that way.
And when you get to where you're going, you have to be lucky to get your package to where it's going.
Hi, I'd like to get this package on your next plane to Fargo, North Dakota, please. And why are you shaking your head?
See that plane taking off?
Yeah.
That was our next plane to Fargo, North Dakota.
There's an easier way. Call Emery. We'll pick your package up and rush it to the airport. And instead of your package waiting for a plane, chances are you'll find a plane waiting for your package. You'll also find that Emery goes to more places both here and abroad than any other air freight company.
Hello, Emery? Help.
Emery Air Freight, the shortest distance between 2 points.
Mel, we've got to run. We'll be going out to Kansas City for the play-by-play of the game. Larry Gura, Catfish Hunter, first game of the playoffs, and I will see you back here tomorrow evening, 45 minutes before the start of the game, with our playoff preview number 2.
It's been a lot of fun, John, as it always is, being with you or listening to you.
Okay, I thank you, Mel. We'll be back tomorrow. Our playoff preview brought to you by Carte Blanche. Since no one credit card is accepted everywhere, you should have Carte Blanche, the credit card you need no matter what other credit cards you have. And by Emery Air Freight, the company that will handle your shipping and freight problems. Call Emery, shortest distance between 2 points.
Hi, I'm Christabel. On the cover of the April issue of Playboy, I reenacted one of my favorite childhood fantasies. Now, I'm in a movie based on one of the favorite fantasies of all time, Alice in Wonderland. But in my version, the children's story is definitely for adults only.
Now, Bill Osco, the maker of Flesh Gordon, presents Alice in Wonderland.
Are you looking for
an X-rated musical comedy with music by Academy Award nominee Peter Matt.
What's a nice girl like you doing on a night like this?
There's a whole new world waiting for you out there, girl.
What's a nice girl like her doing? Under 17 not admitted. Because the world's favorite bedtime story is finally a bedtime story.
Now playing at flagship theaters. Check newspapers for listing.
This is WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. Hi, I'm John Sterling, and I've got sports for you. My own talk show Monday through Friday, 7 to 10, and Saturday afternoons, 1 to 4, plus play-by-play, day-by-day of baseball, basketball, hockey, and football.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our On Deck Circle show. I'm Bill White, and our On Deck Circle guest is Yankee catcher Elrod Hendricks. And I'll be back to talk to Elrod right after this.
Real People Radio is radio by real people for real people. Information real people need. Weather, news, traffic, commuter information, newsmakers, talking about news stories of the day and the issues behind them. Join me, Steve Power, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday here on WMCA.
Hi, I'm Sally Jesse Raphael. Every day from 1 to 3, we conduct a kind of underground of ideas and esoteric information. We also visit with the people that New Yorkers care about before they hit the top. Remember, if you miss it, you won't know what you've missed.
Good voice in New York, WMCA.
Hendricks, I think looking over the Yankee roster, you're the only player who has gone through this championship series. But how does it affect a player?
Well, Bill, to be honest with you, you have a whole week now to think about it, and after a while, you just wear off. All your thoughts about the game and everything just wear off, and especially this one here. Since we've been here for 4 days already, all the nervousness is gone now, and you just can't wait to get the playoffs started. Right now, I'm in that situation where I could not wait. Last night I was hoping that it was last night that we were playing. I guess it's just like a professional fighter. You reach that peak and you're ready to go.
I meant you're the only player, but I meant player on the roster. Of course, pitchers are players, but, you know, Catfish has gone through it, Kenny Holtzman has gone through it, Doyle Alexander's gone through it, Grant Jackson has gone through it, and Doc Ellis has gone through it. And, of course, pitchers are a different breed anyway.
Well, definitely, they're out there, and they know they have a backup. When you're out there playing, you really don't have a backup. You have to go through 9 innings, and you have to listen to everything out there. The pitchers only go out once, maybe they may go out once every series, you know. So this is my 6th time in the playoff, and I've been very lucky to be in the right place at the right time.
Elrod, you mentioned 6 times in it, but I imagine there still might be a little butterflies in that stomach.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it. Right now I don't feel any, but as soon as the game starts, I know I'll feel quite a bit. I'm not high-strung per se, but it's a different thing when you play in the regular season and when you get in the playoffs. I think the playoffs is much more important to a ball player than getting into than the World Series. Because if you don't win the playoffs, your whole season is right down the drain. This is what you play for the whole year to get into the playoffs. The World Series is a bonus. There was a time when the season meant everything, but now the season really doesn't mean anything other than being the division champs. If you don't get in the World Series, well, you know, it's just nothing. Your whole season is down the drain in 3 games.
You know, talking about that point, Elrod Hendricks, do you think that perhaps the league championship series should be the best 4 out of 7 instead of the best 3 out of 5?
Right. I've always maintained that this should be the 4 out of 7 series. You know, in a short series, you never know, really. Not necessarily always the best team wins. I think that 4 out of 7 will be much better in the playoffs. But then there are going to be people who's going to say, well, that'll run you into almost November. I don't care how long it takes, you know, as long as you get in the World Series. I think that 4 out of 7 would give both ball clubs a better chance to show their ability rather than 3 games, because anything can happen in a short game, a short series like this, 3 out of 5. Any one team can get hot for 3 games. One team can be stale for 2 or 3 games, and pretty soon you're home wondering how you lost.
We'll be back to talk some more with the Yankee catcher, Elrod Hendricks, right after this.
This is probably the most exciting time of the year. The playoffs are going on, the World Series is coming up, and the new cars for 77 are out. And no one has a bigger selection of better deals on all the new 77s than Big Al Saleo of Boulevard AMC Jeep. He's got the roomy wide-angle Pacer wagons, the Power Pack AMX, and the all-new economical Little Gremlins, plus Hornets, Matadors, and all the other AMC Jeep All-Stars for 1977. And on top of his already low prices and generous trade-in allowances, Big Al has the Cruncher, AMC's exclusive buyer protection plan, which now includes a 2nd-year guarantee on the powertrain. So visit Boulevard AMC Jeep at 212th and Northern Boulevard in Bayside, Queens, between the Clearview and Cross Island Expressways. That's 212th and Northern Boulevard, Bayside. Or call Big Al at 423-7700 and find out what the excitement is all about.
The Yankees have been out here now for the last 3 or 4 days working on this artificial turf. Do you think coming out here that early has helped?
I really don't think so. Like I said, we've been out there 4 days, and you can see the 3rd day that the guys just got tired of the workouts. They were ready. They were ready to play. Mentally, they were ready then. And that final day we work out, we played a inter-squad game. We played about 6 innings. And you can see the last 2 innings of the ball game, the guys just sort of went through emotion because they're getting tired of this child stuff. They just wanted to go out and play the game.
How about Kansas City, the Kansas City Yankee matchups? Looks like they're pretty even.
Well, yes. Like I said, in a short series, you never know. I think that we have the better ball club on paper, but that doesn't win any ball games. You win it out in the field. Right now, I think that with the rest of the Royals have had, I think that it probably will help them and make it a pretty interesting series. I think, if anything, the rest that we had probably could hurt us. By that, I mean, we were playing real good ball at the time the season ended. We were doing the things that we needed to do to win ball games. Even though we had a 11-game lead or whatever, we were still doing the things necessary to win close ball games, and we were playing the game the way it should be played. We were at our best then. A week layoff can really hurt a ball club. or it can really help. In this case, I think that if anything, it can help Kansas City because they went through a real tough season, especially the last month of the season. They had a tough time winning ball game. I think this rest can help them both mentally and physically. So, I expect it to be a little tougher than a lot of people think it will be.
Well, Elmer, I hope it helps the Yankees and helps you. And good luck.
Thank you.
Well, today's gift for our on-deck circle guest, Elrod Hendricks, is a Remington Super Brush Hair Dryer from Two Guys Discount Department Store. Two Guys is the only place where you will find the widest selection of top-quality name-brand goods for you, your home, car, and leisure time activities, all at everyday low discount prices. After the game, it's Two Guys naturally. Stay tuned for New York Yankee baseball.
Since the beginning of time, people have laughed at great ideas.
Those Wright boys claim they've invented a flying machine.
Telephone! Alexander, who are you going to call?
Electric light? Hey, Edison, get a candle!
They also laughed in 1921 when White Castle unveiled the little square hamburger. Then they tasted its pure American beef and savory chopped onions. And another funny little idea made history. The White Castle hamburger. Without it, all hamburgers would be the same.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to New York Yankee Baseball. Today's game is brought to you by Schaefer Beer. Go out and get a Schaefer and be Schaefer people, too. By Gabriel. No matter what you drive, no matter how you drive, there's a Gabriel shock for you. Gabriel, King of the Road. By Household Finance. The company that says never borrow money needlessly, Household Finance. By Chrysler Plymouth. It's the year to say yes to Motor Trend's Car of the Year, Chrysler Plymouth Volare. By Getty Premium and new Getty Unleaded Regular, the higher octane gasoline with the lower prices. By the people from Colonial Yankee Franks, the all beef Franks with a taste that takes you out to the ball game. And by Lincoln Savings Bank, the bank who makes friends for life. The Lincoln Savings Bank in Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, and Manhattan.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Royal Stadium out here in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm Bill White. We'll be joined a bit later by Phil Rizzuto and Frank Messer. Today's game marks the 8th American League Championship game of the series. Actually, the 8th American League Championship Series. The League Championship Series was initiated back in 1969 when the Major Leagues added 4 teams. And it marks the first appearances for both the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees in the League Championship Series. Today's pitchers for the Yankees, Catfish Hunter, and for the Kansas City Royals, a former Yankee left-hander, Larry Gura. And I'll be back with the starting lineups right after this.
Say, Frank, do you mind doing the play-by-play for a while? I want to concentrate on my Butterfingers bite by bite.
Well, you know, Phil, Butterfingers are the candy bars so good, you got to earn them.
Well, that's no problem. It so happens Phil Rizzuto is a household word. Well, it is in my household, and my mother considers me to be quite semi-famous.
Well, that may be good enough for 1 or 2 Butterfingers, but you've got a whole fun-sized bag. You haven't earned all those Butterfingers.
So what should I do with the rest of them?
Well, it so happens Frank Messer is a household word.
If all you need is money, come on into HFC.
We're Household Finance, and last year we helped over 2 million people get the most out of life, whether it was a dream vacation, a snowmobile, or a stereo. That's why we're here. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
Well, the Yankees will have Mickey Rivers leading off and playing center field. Roy White will bat second. He'll play left. Thurman Munson will catch and bat third. Batting fourth, the Yankee designated hitter Lou Piniella. Chris Chambliss will bat fifth. He'll play first base. Greg Nettles at third base will bat sixth. Elliot Maddox will be in right field this afternoon. He'll bat seventh. Willie Randolph at second base will bat eighth. And the shortstop for the Yankees will be Fred Stanley. And on the mound, right-hander Catfish Hunter. Hunter has won 17, lost 15 so far this year. Against the Kansas City Royals in 1976, Hunter's 1-2, and lifetime against the Royals, he's 15-11. The Royals will have Amos Otis leading off and playing center field. George Brett will play third base and bat second. Hal McRae will be the DH. He'll bat third. John Mayberry at first base will bat fourth for the Royals. He'll be followed by the right fielder Al Cowens. Batting sixth and playing left field for the Kansas City Royals, Tom Poquette. The second baseman, Frank White, will bat seventh. He'll be followed by the shortstop, Freddie Patek. Patek, by the way, is celebrating his 32nd birthday this afternoon. So he'll bat eighth and play shortstop. Buck Martinez will catch and bat ninth for the Kansas City Royals. And on the mound, left-hander Larry Gura. Let's take 15 seconds for station identification on the New York Yankee Home of Champions radio network.
This is WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. Hi, I'm John Sterling, and sports is a big part of Real People Radio. Real people like Thurman Munson, Dr. J. Julius Irving, and Dennis Potvin. WMCA, sports for all seasons.
Well, this program is authorized by the New York Yankee Baseball Club under rights purchased by Manchester Broadcasting Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or other use of this game without the express written consent of the Yankees and Manchester Broadcasting is prohibited. New York Yankee Baseball is a production of Manchester Broadcasting Productions Incorporated, which has contracted for and has exclusive rights to the broadcasting of these games, including selection of the announcers with the approval of the Yankees and this station. Well, down under us, near the Kansas City Royal dugout, which is on the first base side, the owner of the Kansas City Royals, Ewing Kauffman, and his wife have just thrown out the first base ball of the afternoon. And Buck Martinez, the Royal catcher, caught the ball. Then he received a kiss from Mrs. Kauffman. Well, the Yankees and Royals over the season of 1976 faced each other 12 times. The Royals won 7 of them and the Yankees 5. Now, 6 of those ball games were decided by just 1 run. And in only 1 ball game was there more than 3-run difference. So these ball clubs are fairly equal. They both have good speed. They both have good defense. The Yankees have shown a little more power this year than the Kansas City Royals, and the Yankees should have a little more seasoned pitching. Certainly the Yankees have more people who have been in this championship series than the Kansas City Royals. As the Royals take the field, Doyle Alexander was in the championship series, 1973 and 64 with Baltimore. Kenny Holtzman in 1972, 3, 4, and 5 with Oakland. Brad Jackson, 1973, 74 with Baltimore. Doc Ellis in the championship series in the National League, 1970, 72, 74, 75. Catfish Hunter with the Oakland A's, 71 through 74. Greg Nettles, we forgot about him back in 69, was with the Minnesota Twins in the League Championship Series that year. Willie Randolph last year with the Pittsburgh Pirates. L. Rod Hendricks, 69, 70, 71, and 74 with Baltimore. And Fran Healy, who came to the Yankees in the trade for Larry Gura, was with the Giants in the League Championship playoffs in the National League back in 1971. So in our pregame show, we talked to L. Rod Hendricks, and we felt that he was the only player who had been in one, but we find that's not true. Alexander, Holtzman, Jackson, Ellis, Hunter, Nettles, Randolph, and Hendricks, and Healy have all participated in League Championship Series. Well, Larry Gura now is out taking his warm-up tosses. This left-hander has done an excellent job for the Kansas City Royals coming down the stretch. So far this year, Gura has won 4 and lost none with the Royals, and it was his win against the Oakland A's late in the stretch that actually clinched the tie for the Kansas City Royals for the American League West pennant. Whitey Herzog starting Gura for a couple of reasons. First of all, he has been his most effective pitcher going down the stretch. Secondly, he's left-handed, and Herzog feels that Gura being out there will stop a guy like Mickey Rivers from getting on base too much, that he will stop a guy like Chris Chambliss from hitting home runs, stop a guy like Greg Nettles from hitting the long ball, and keep Willie Randolph close at first base. Everybody tries to use the left-handed pitchers against New York Yankees, and Herzog is trying to get away in this first game of the League Championship Series out in Kansas City with left-hander Larry Gura. Gura's only appearance against his ex-mates this year was a 7 2/3 inning relief appearance. That was on August the 11th here at Royal Stadium. He allowed only a bunt single by Greg Nettles. He walked one and struck out 3, but the Royals lost that ball game here 5-3. So Gura has pitched well against the Yankees in his only appearance against them this year. The umpires, by the way, Joe Brinkman behind the plate, Larry Barnett at first, George Maloney at second, and Bill Haller at third. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. Mickey Rivers bunts on a third base side. It's going to bounce foul, and it's pounced on by Martinez. Oh, Rivers on the first pitch got it, dropped one down the third base side. Martinez let it roll and it rolled foul. We also have a couple extra umpires in this ball game for you. Down the left field foul line is Art France, and down the right field foul line, Larry McCoy. Mickey on the year batted .312 for the Yankees. He hit 8 home runs, drove in 67 runs, and we talked to him before the ball game, and he said his shoulder's all right. He can throw. In addition to batting .312, Rivers stole 43 bases. Here's a one-strike pitch to Rivers. Curveball is fouled straight back up on the screen. No balls, 2 strikes. Now these Royal fans cheering everything now. Guess they like to beat the guys from the Big Apple. It'll be Rivers, White, and Munson for the Yankees here in the top half of the first inning. They play Rivers slightly to hit the ball the opposite field. Gura's 2-strike pitch. Fastball slapped to third, backhanded by Brett. And he throws to first base. It will not be in time, and it's up against the wall. Rivers is going to try for second. Mayberry picks the ball up, and Rivers slides into second base, and he's safe. Oh, right away, we might see a little bit of jitterness. Jitter shown by the Kansas City Royals. That ball was hit over the third base bag. Brett backhanded the ball, looked at first base. He waited for Mayberry to get there. Then when he threw over Mayberry's head. So Rivers, I'm sure, will get a base hit. And let's see, maybe they won't give him a base hit. Yeah, they'll give him a base hit, and they'll give the third baseman, George Brettner, allowing him to go to second base. So Rivers down at second base. Nobody out, in the batter's Roy White. Well, if you're wondering if players get jitters, yes, they do. I had him. You got him now a little bit. Now Gura sets, and the first pitch to Roy White, who's in right-handed. He fakes the bunt, takes high. It's a ball. You have them until you swing the bat once, catch a ball once, and then you settle down a little bit. The Yankees have been out here 5 days, and that's been a long time to sit around and do nothing except play a little inter-squad game. Roy, a .286 hitter, 14 home runs, 65 runs batted in. Gura's next pitch, and White takes inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Brett even with the bag at third base. Patek is the shortstop, and White the second baseman. They're cheating a little bit towards second, looking for 2, and they also want to hold Rivers close there. The first baseman, closed in a bit, is John Mayberry. Tom Poquette out in left, Amos Otis in center, and Al Cowens in right. Pitch to White is inside, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Now Larry Gura feels he's got a score to settle with the Yankees and Billy Martin. He feels that Martin didn't give him a chance to pitch when he was with the Yankees. First, Martin said with his pitching staff, Gura had no reason to want to pitch. Too many guys who could do a better job. So Gura sets. Here's a 3-0 to White. And it's taken high, ball 4. So the Yankees have the first 2 base runners on here in the top half of the first inning. Mickey Rivers, who a ground single over the third base bag and went to second when Brett fielded the ball, threw it over Mayberry's head. Rivers down at second. White just walked. He's on at first. And the batter, the catcher, Thurman Munson. Munson had a fine year in 1976. He batted .302, hit 17 home runs, drove in 105 runs. Munson's in right-handed. Royals still keep their infield about 3/4. Brett backs up a couple of steps at third base. Pretty good infield. Brett, Patek, White, and Mayberry. Gura now sets. Checks the runners. And the pitch to Munson. Swung on, sliced foul, right side, not a play. Wind blowing toward right field here at Royal Stadium. And that flag's really whipping out toward right. They play Munson straight away, and Cowens is not playing too deep on right field. Dick Hauser, the Yankee third base coach. Ellie Howard coaching at first base. Now Gura gets the sign and sets. Here's a one-strike pitch to Munson. Curveball is in the dirt. It's a ball and a strike. Dealing on deck is Lou Piniella, a former Royal. Yankees getting as many right-handed hitters in their lineup as they can against Larry Gura. Now Gura sets. Checks the runners. Here's a 1-1 to Munson. Swung on line. Base hit center field. Rivers got a slow jump, and he'll probably be held at third base, and he'll be held there, and the Yankees have the bases loaded. Rivers started back towards second, and Hauser wisely held him up at third base as Otis got to that ball quickly and got it into Buck Martinez. So the Yankees have the bases loaded. Nobody out here in the top half of the first inning. Rivers at third base. White down at second. Munson on at first. And right away, we're going to get some action in the Kansas City bullpen out in right field.
63 degrees. Wind still reported out of the northwest at 14.
Lou Piniella steps in. Piniella batted .281 on the year, 3 home runs, and 38 runs batted in. Royals have their infield back looking for 2.
Doug Bird is throwing in the Royals bullpen. Doug Bird.
Doug Bird, a right-hander, now getting loose in the Kansas City bullpen. Yankees have the bases loaded, nobody out. Here's the first pitch to Piniella. Swung on and missed. Gura took a little off the curveball. On deck is Chris Chambliss. Yankees trying to break this ball game open in the top of the first. Gura taking a long look at Martinez for a sign. Now he rocks. Here's a 1-strike pitch. Fastball's on the outside corner, called strike 2. Yankees have excellent speed on the bases. Rivers at third, White down at second, Munson on at first. Nobody out. Now Mayberry walks in a couple of steps at first base as Gura rocks. And a 2-strike pitch. Outside, a waste pitch, a ball and 2 strikes. Chris Chambliss on deck. No score here in the top of the first. Yankees threatening. Now Piniella backs off. He's got something in his eye. Turns back and gets back in the batter's box. Gura looking for signs. Still looking. Now he winds. And the 1-2 pitch to Piniella. Swung on and fouled back. Gura got away with a high fastball. Piniella got under it a bit and fouled it straight back. The count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Larry Gura gets new baseball. Piniella, by the way, had 6 game-winning hits for the Yankees this season. The 1-2 to Lou. Swung on, sliced foul right side and out of play. The count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Piniella hanging in. Of course, the Yankees ended their year on an upbeat, and the Royals on a sort of a downbeat. The Royals lost 7 of their last 8 ball games, but they backed in and won the American League West anyway, as the Oakland A's simply ran out of gas. Yankees finished 10.5 games on top of Baltimore in the East. Kansas City 2.5 over the Oakland A's in the American League West. Now the 1-2 pitch to Piniella. Swung on and missed. Piniella goes down swinging at a high fastball. And there's one away. Big strikeout for Larry Gura. Because now he's got a couple of left-handers coming up, Chris Chambliss and then Greg Nettles. Well, the Yankees have the bases loaded. Now there's one out as Chris Chambliss steps in. Chambliss batted .293 on the year. He had 17 home runs for the Yankees and drove in 96 runs. This is one fellow that 5-day rest, I think, helped a bit. Chambliss was having a bit of trouble swinging the bat near the end of the year, and those 5 days had to give him a little more quickness in that bat. Here's the first pitch to Chambliss. Curveball is high. Rivers at third, White down at second, Munson on at first, 1 out. Top of the first, no score yet. Infield back looking for 2. Here's the 1-0 to Chambliss. Swung on, fouled straight back. It's a ball and a strike. former Yankee skipper Billy Verdon here, down by the screen, saying hello to some of the Yankees. Verdon managed the Houston Astros this year. They ended up third in the National League West, behind the Cincinnati Reds and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Here's a 1-1 to Chambliss. Swung on, hit on the ground to third, backhanded by Brett, tags third, long throw to first base, and the third past the first baseman. 1 run scores, White around third, he'll score, Munson's being waved in, and he'll score, and the Yankees lead 3-0. Now check that, 2-0, because Brett tagged third, and that forced White at third base. Rivers scored on a ground ball. White was forced at third for out number 2, 5 unassisted. Then Brett threw that ball past Mayberry at first base. Rivers scored. Munson scored. Chambliss went to second base, and the Yankees lead 2-0. And to give third baseman George Brett another error. Well, the Yankees break on top 2-0 here in the top of the first, and here's Nettles. Well, Brett had the right idea. He touched up there at third base. That forced White. But then his throw to first base was in the dirt, got past Mayberry, and 2 runs scored. Here's the first pitch to the American League's home run leader. Skies at the left field, moving back and flipping the glasses down is Poquette. He's there, and he's got it for out number 3. But the Yankees scored twice on a 2-base hit, 2 errors by the Kansas City Royals, and the Yankees leave a man on base. At the end of the half inning, the Yankees break on top of Kansas City 2-0.
The Royals official scorebook in your book combination. You find special stories.
Take yourself up, go Ozark. You're a husband to speak. You've got wings on your feet. Get yourself up, go Ozark. You're gonna win every time. With a going airline. Get yourself up, go Ozark.
If you're a businessman who's going places, Ozark is your airline. Our number 1 priority is to get you where you're going as quickly, comfortably, and efficiently as possible. That's why we plan our flight schedules and connections for the business flyers, and why we'll arrange for a rental car ready to go at your destination. If you're a businessman who's going places, Ozark is your airline.
Now, go Ozark Evening Jet at 6:10 p.m. to Washington with through service to Champaign-Urbana, Peoria, and Springfield, Illinois.
Oh, the Yankees pick up 2 runs on 2 base hits in the top of the first. They give Catfish Hunter a 2-0 lead as we go here in the bottom half of the first inning. The Yankees and the Kansas City Royals in the first game of the League Championship Series. Well, Catfish has had a lot of experience out there in League Championship Series games. Hunter, along with Jim Palmer, holds the record for the most starts in the American League Championship Series. 7. He also has a record for most innings pitched, 51. So he'll be breaking one record and also breaking his most innings pitched record. Catfish has 6 lifetime shutouts against the Royals, his most against any club. And lifetime against the Royals, we mentioned earlier, he has won 15 and lost 11. This year against the Royals, Hunter's 1-2. Had 17 wins this year, broke a string of 5 straight 20-win seasons for Catfish. And as I mentioned, this is his 8th appearance in the American League Championship competition, so he now goes 1 ahead of Jim Palmer. And Amos Otis steps in against Catfish Hunter here in the bottom half of the first inning. Otis batting at .279, 18 home runs, 86 runs batted in. And the first pitch to him. He takes low ball. It'll be Otis, George Brett, and Hal McRae for the Kansas City Royals here in the bottom half of the first inning. Otis had 40 doubles this year for the Royals. Fastball is high, 2 balls, no strikes. Hunter said earlier in the week he had been pitching with a little tenderness in his arm. Shot of cortisone. Missed turn. He says he's all right now. Here's the 2-0 to Amos Otis. Bunted on the third base side. Hunter's there. He throws. In time, just in time to nip Amos Otis. And there's one away. Good play by Catfish Hunter and a good play by first baseman Chris Chambliss as he scooped that ball out of the dirt. So there's one out. And the batter is George Brett, the third baseman. Brett led the American League in hitting. He batted .333. Of course, he won it on a controversial play when Steve Bry, the center fielder for the Minnesota Twins, misplayed a fly ball in the center field. Curveball is down the dirt. Brett batted .333 on the year for the Royals, nosing out the guy on deck, Hal McRae, by a point. Brett also hit 7 home runs and drove in 67 runs, and he takes the strike. It's 1-1. Brett also led the American League in base hits, 215. 14 of those were triples. Fastball hit on the ground. Nettles dives. He comes up. Throws on the first base, and they've got him by his step. Greg Nettles with a fine play, and they're 2 outs. Well, they talk so much about the Kansas City Royal defense. Well, that defense failed them in the top of this inning. The Yankees just came up with 2 sparklers. Hunter bouncing off the mound to throw out Otis trying to bunt. And Nettles diving to his left and coming up with Brett's ground ball and throwing him out. Here's Hal McRae. End of the season batting .332, 8 home runs, 73 runs batted in, and he takes high. The Yankees have a 2-0 lead. We're in the bottom half of the first inning here in Kansas City. Hunter working quickly. Fastball is fouled straight back. It's 1-1. Now they've got a full house here at Royal Stadium. Every seat's taken. Sun is out, not a cloud in the sky. Wind blowing toward right field. Here's Hunter's 1-1 pitch to McRae. Swung on and missed. A ball and 2 strikes. Nettles gives McRae a lot of that third baseline. He plays wide at third base. Everybody plays straight away. Swung on and missed. McRae goes down swinging on a curveball. Well, the Royals go 3 up and 3 down in the bottom half of the first inning, and at the end of 1, the score, the Yankees 2, the Baltimore Orioles, check that, the Kansas City Royals, nothing.
Change in the Royals lineup. Jim Wolford has come in to replace Otis. He is going to left field.
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm shaped for people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm shaped for people.
Consistency makes a great beer. And Schaefer's consistently great tasting every single time because Schaefer's brewed the old world way. Kreuzening, we call it. Since 1842, Kreuzening, the extra step of brewing twice, has kept Schaefer consistently fresh and crisp, consistently great tasting beer after Schaefer beer.
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm shaped for people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm shaped for people. A Schaefer beer goes straight to your thirst. You'll have one taste as good as your first. Go out and get a Schaefer at the Schaefer People Store. Go out and get a Schaefer at the Schaefer People Store.
We're right. I've got some defensive moves in the outfield for the Kansas City Royals. Evidently, Amos Otis twisted his ankle when he tried to bunt and beat that ball out in the first inning. And he has been taken out of the ball game by Whitey Herzog. Al Cowens moves from right field to center field for Kansas City.
Leading off for the Yankees.
Tom Poquette moves from left field to right field for the Royals. And Jim Wolford moves out to play left field. So Wolford in left, Cowens in center, and Poquette in right field for the Royals. Here in the top of the second, the Yankees ahead 2-0. Elliot Maddox leads off against Larry Gura here in the top of the second. It'll be Maddox, Randolph, and Stanley, the bottom third of the Yankee batting order. Here's Gura's first pitch to Maddox. Fastball hit in the air right side. It's going to slice foul and go way back in the seats. 1 strike on Maddox. Maddox has been up 46 times. He has 10 base hits, no home runs, 3 runs batted in. Gura's 1 strike pitch to Maddox. Curveball hits his bat and goes straight back. No balls, 2 strikes. Maddox tried to hold up. The ball found the bat. 0-2 on Elliot Maddox. Yankees scored twice in the top of the first. They lead 2-0. Here's a 2-strike pitch to Maddox. High and away, a ball and 2 strikes. Rivers led off with a ground single over the third base bag. George Brett picked it up, threw it into right field. Rivers going on the second. Brett picking up an error. White walk. Munson single up the middle. Runners holding. As Maddox fouls the next pitch off. With the bases loaded, Lou Piniella struck out, but then Chambliss bounced one to Brett. Brett decided to touch third base to force White. He did that successfully. Then he threw the ball past first baseman John Mayberry. Rivers scored, so did Munson. That's how the Yankees got their 2 runs. Here's the 1-2 now to Maddox. Swung on it on the ground is short. Patek backs up. He's got it. Long throw to first base in time. And there's one away. Little Freddie Patek, 5 feet 4 inches, celebrating his 32nd birthday. Looks like he ought to be about 15 out there. Here's Willie Randolph, the Yankees' second baseman. Willie batting at .267 with a home run, 40 runs batted in. A right-handed batter, and they straighten up for Randolph. On deck is Fred Stanley. Gura's first pitch is fouled back. Gura now changing speeds a lot better. He had Randolph out front, and Randolph just tipped it back to the screen. No balls, 1 strike. 1 out, nobody on. Top of the second. The Yankees have a 2-0 lead over the Royals. Fastball chopped past those. Grabbed by the third baseman, Brett. Fires on the first base, and they've got Randolph. Well, George Brett went to his left. That ball looked like it was by him. Got that big glove down, scooped it up, and got his man. An excellent play by George Brett, and there are 2 outs. That'll bring on Fred Stanley, the Yankee shortstop. Stanley, a .238 hitter with a home run, 20 runs batted in. Outfield shortens up for him. Gura's first pitch. Fastball, letter high on the outside corner is struck. Larry Gura has settled down here in the second inning. And the 1-strike pitch. Fastball is high. 1 ball, 1 strike on Stanley. Gura wants another sign from Martinez and gets it. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on line, base hit, right field. Going toward the lines, the right fielder Poquette. He cuts it off, throws on into second base, and Stanley with a big turn has to go back to first base. So Fred Stanley singling down the right field line. An excellent play by the right fielder, Tom Poquette, holding him to a single. So Stanley's on at first base, 2 outs, and the batter is Mickey Rivers, the center fielder. It's the Yankees' third base hit against Larry Gura. Rivers led the ball game off by singling over the third base bag. Brett backhanded the ball and threw it wide, allowing Rivers to go on to second base. And Mickey scored, of course, when Brett threw another ball by Mayberry. Swing and a miss by Rivers. No balls, 1 strike. Mayberry holding Stanley at first base. Brett way in at third base. As Stanley moves off first. Here's the 0-1 to Rivers. Curveball is outside, a ball and a strike. Well, the famous Otis can't play anymore this series. The Royals certainly would be in a bit of trouble. Otis has probably been their most consistent player all year long, outside of McRae and Brett. Here's the 1-1. Fastball is on the outside corner. Ball and 2 strikes on Mickey Rivers. Of course, Amos plays that good defense for you in center field. He steals bases. He has stolen 26. He's driven in 86 runs with 18 home runs. Oh, he'll be a big void should he not be able to play the rest of this series. Now Gura sets. Checks Stanley at first base. Here's the 1-2 to Rivers. Swung on and missed. Took a lot off a curveball, and Rivers waved at it for out number 3. No runs, the base hit, and a man left on base. Bottom of the second coming up. Yankees 2, Royals nothing.
Take 1 fresh egg. Fry it. Add 1 slice of ham. Sizzle it. Top with a slice of American cheese. Sandwich them all into a buttered, toasted bun, and you have the Breakfast Jack, a deliciously different sandwich from Jack in the Box that's made to order for people who are up early or up late. The Breakfast Jack. That's what's cooking at Jack in the Box.
If all you need is money, come on into HFC.
Is there something you want that would make your life a whole lot easier, more enjoyable? An HFC shopper's loan could be the best way to get it. Come on in and ask about a shopper's loan. Household finance, an equal opportunity lender.
So come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC.
Household finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
Let's take 15 seconds for station identification on the New York Yankee Home of Champions radio network.
This is WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. Hi, I'm John Sterling, and I've got sports for you. New York Yankees baseball, New York Nets basketball, New York Islanders hockey, NFL football, Notre Dame football, New York, New Jersey college basketball. WMCA, sports for all seasons.
Now, Big John Mayberry will lead off with the Royals here in the bottom of the second. The Yankees lead 2-0. It'll be Mayberry, Cowens, and Tom Poquette.
Leading off for the Royals.
Mayberry batted .232 for the Royals. Hit 13 home runs. Drove in 95 runs. Hit .069 against the Yankees this year. The Yankees try to pitch him badly. They keep the fastball away from him. Try to get him out with the curveball. And they like to have him up with nobody on base. And the Yankees now pull a Mayberry switch. Just about everybody on the right side of the field. Fastball is outside. Nettles is playing shortstop. Stanley's playing out in center field. Randolph is playing shallow right field. And Chalmers is about as far back as he can get at first base. There's a fastball on the outside corner. A called strike. It's 1-1. They've got Maddox deep and in the corner in right field. Rivers way over in right center field and White way over in left center. Here's the 1-1 to Mayberry. High and away, 2 balls and a strike. Big John Mayberry, just 3 home runs since the All-Star break for the Kansas City Royals. Here's a 2-1 to Mayberry. Swung on and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees lead 2-0. Bottom of the second. Fastball, check swing, bounced foul outside of third. Count remains. 2 balls, 2 strikes on John Mayberry. Last year, Mayberry batted .291 for the Kansas City Royals. Hit 34 home runs, drove in 106 runs. The 2-2 pitch, hit in the air, left field, coming on his way. Still coming, he's there now, and he's got it. Roy White playing Mayberry perfectly. Roy fighting the sun with those sunglasses, and there's 1 away.
Batting fifth, number 18.
That'll bring on Al Cowens. Cowens started the ball game in right field, moved to center when Otis had to leave with a sprained ankle. Cowens is a right-handed batter. He's batting .265 on the year. 3 home runs, 59 runs batted in. And on deck is Tom Poquette, the right fielder. It's 2-0 Yankees. We're playing the bottom of the second. 1 out, nobody on. Cowens fouls one straight back. No balls and a strike. Nettles, Stanley, Randolph, Chambliss around the infield. White, Rivers, and Maddox in the outfield. Munson flashing signs for Hunter. And the 1-strike pitch. Fastball popped up. The shortstop, Stanley calling. Now he backs off. The second baseman, Randolph's there, and Randolph makes the catch. And they're 2 outs.
Batting sixth, number 25.
I mentioned earlier that wind blowing from left toward right. That ball went up at the shortstop position, but the wind got it and moved it over behind second base. And Willie Randolph made the catch. Here's Tom Poquette, the right fielder. A .302 hitter, 2 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Slap hitter. They play him straight away. Changeup is high. Yankees scored twice. In the top of the first, they lead 2-0. We're in the bottom of the second. 2 outs, nobody on for the Royals. Here's Hunter's 1-0 delivery to Poquette. Slashed foul, left side, and out of play. Ball and a strike. Chuck Hiller coaches third base for the Royals. Steve Boros coaches first. Here's Hunter's 1-1 pitch to Poquette. Fastball hit on the ground, back up the middle, knocked down by Hunter. Charged by Randolph, off balance throw in time. The put out, 1-4-3. Hunter knocked that ball down. Randolph charged and got his man. 3 up, 3 down. The Cat has retired 6 in a row, and at the end of 2, the Yankees lead the Royals 2-0.
Yes, it's the time to say yes. At George Chrysler Plymouth Dealers.
Sure is easy to say yes to the affordable Chrysler Cordova any time of the year. But right now, it's the end of the model year, and that means you can get a clearance deal on a luxurious Cordova. Sound good to you?
Yes, it's the time to say yes. At George Chrysler Plymouth Dealers.
And Cordova is one personal midsize luxury car that has a lot going for it, like many standard luxuries. No wonder Cordova is the most successful Chrysler ever introduced. And right now, you can get a clearance deal that'll put you behind the wheel of a luxurious Chrysler Cordova.
Yes, it's the time to say yes. At George Chrysler Plymouth Dealers.
Get your year-end clearance deal at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Yes.
WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. This is Mel Allen. Emery doesn't think anyone should discriminate against a package because of its size, weight, or destination. Emery Air Freight, the shortest distance between 2 points.
Now, Joe Brinkman, the home plate umpire, walks out, and he's talking to Larry Gura halfway between home plate and the pitching mound. Now, Brinkman walks back, looks over at the Kansas City Royal dugout on the first base side. Oh, I know what they're waiting on. They're waiting for the TV cameras to get their commercial in. Oh, Roy White's in. It'll be White, Munson, and Piniella against Larry Gura here in the 3rd inning. White walked in the 1st. Gura's first pitch is fouled off. Right side, not a play. He was forced to 3rd base on the bouncer to the 3rd baseman. Brett by Chambliss. Rivers scored on the play, and then when Brett threw the ball past Mayberry, Munson also scored. Curve is low. It's a ball and a strike on White. Oh, the Yankees have a 2-0 lead here in the top of the 3rd. Roy led the American League in runs scored this year. He scored 104 times. Switch hitter in right-handed against Gura. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastballs on the inside corner, ball and 2 strikes. After giving up those 2 runs on 2 base hits in the 1st inning, of course, the Yankees were helped by a couple of errors by George Brett. Gura has really settled down. Here's the 1-2 to White. Fastball is popped foul, first base side. After it is Mayberry, but it'll be just out of reach. The first row of the seats. Well, the count remains a ball and 2 strikes on White. Gura mixing his pitches up well. Larry has a sneaky fastball. He's not known as a fastball pitcher. More of a control pitcher. He'll pitch in and out. Changes up on his curveball. Once in a while, he'll throw a straight change. Now the 1 ball, 2 strike count to Roy White. Curveball, chopped to 3rd, backing up is Brett. He's got it. Straight and fires the first base. They've got White. And there's 1 away. White bounces out 5-3. Well, looks like George Brett has settled down at 3rd base. Made a couple of miscues in the 1st. Helped the Yankees score a couple of runs. Made an excellent play on Willie Randolph in the 2nd. And he went back and to his left and threw White out here to lead off the 3rd. Oh, 1 out, nobody on. That'll bring on Thurm Munson. Thurm singled to center in the 1st and scored. So he's 1 for 1. Here's the first pitch to Munson. Curveball chopped to short, charged by Potek. Nice hop for the shortstop. Throws on the first base. They've got Munson, 2 outs. Oh, with 2 outs, nobody on. The batter will be the Yankee designated hitter, Lou Piniella. With the bases loaded in the 1st, Piniella struck out. Oh, he's 0 for 1. Sort of bunch Piniella up the middle. They give him both lines, the left field line and the right field line. Here's Gura's first pitch. Fastball is too high. On deck is Chris Chambliss. Gura rocks. The 1-0 to Piniella. Curve is low. 2 balls, no strikes. Lou drove in 38 runs this year for the Yankees, splitting a right field with Oscar Gamble. Batted .281, hit 3 home runs. Got his 1,000th big league hit this year. The 2-0 pitch. Swung on, hit foul right side. It'll be out of play. And it's 2-1. Yankees 2, Royals nothing. 3rd inning. 2 outs, nobody on. Yankees have 2 runs on 3 hits. The Royals, no runs on, no hits. And they've committed a couple of errors. The 2-1 to Piniella. Swung on, loop left field. That's all going to be a base hit. Falls in front of the left fielder. Wolford gets it on the first hop and gets back in the second base. Piniella got jammed, loop one between Wolford, the left fielder, and Potek, the shortstop. So Piniella on at first base with 2 outs, and the batter will be Chris Chambliss. Chambliss bounced 1 to 3rd with the bases loaded in the 1st inning. Brett got the ball, tagged 3rd, forcing White, then threw the ball past Mayberry, and 2 runs scored. We're discussing it up here. Bill Kane, the Yankee traveling secretary and statistician, and we figured we'd better give Chambliss at least 1 run batted in on the play, because you cannot assume a double play. Chris fouls it straight back. Of course, the other run, Munson scored on the error by 3rd baseman George Brett. 1 strike on Chambliss. Mayberry playing behind Piniella at first base. 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. Yankees leading 2-0. Pitch is low, a ball and a strike. At Figueroa tomorrow night for the Yankees. Game time 8:15 New York time. Of course, we'll have it for you on our Yankee Radio Network. Hit on the ground up the middle. White can't get to it. Base hit center field. Piniella will hold at second base as Cowens gets the ball into the shortstop and cutoff man Freddie Potek. So Chambliss singles up the middle. Piniella holding second base. And that'll bring on Greg Nettles. Nettles, a .254 hitter this season. 32 home runs. That was tops in the American League. 93 runs batted in. 3rd on the Yankees. In the 1st inning, Nettles fly to the left fielder. Then that was Tom Poquette. Since then, Poquette's moved to right field. Cowens has moved to center, and Jim Wolford has moved to left. So the Yankees have runners 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. Potek, the shortstop, now moves directly behind second base for Nettles. White moves out into shallow right. He's at second base. The outfield swings slightly toward right field for Nettles. Here's the first pitch. Fastball is swung on and missed. Nettles had trouble seeing the ball in batting practice. The Yankees had a big, tall left-hander who had pitched at Fort Lauderdale throwing batting practice for him. And Greg had a hard time seeing the ball. Now Gura steps. And the 1-strike pitch. Swung on it on the ground to second. Charged by White. He's up. He'll play at the first base in time, and the side is retired. Yankees, no runs on 2 hits. They leave 2 men on base. Bottom of the 3rd coming up. The Yankees lead the Royals 2-0.
College can bring a lot of unexpected expenses, and if it does, come on into Household Finance. We'll do everything we can to lend you the extra money you need. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
So come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
Hi, this is your old country and western buddy, Dorsey Burnett. Hey, I'd like to get a little personal with you for a minute. You know, even if you shower twice a day, you can't wash away jock itch. What you need is something made especially for jock itch, and that's Cruex. C-R-U-E-X. Cruex medicated powder relieves the itching, the chafing, the rash. And because it's medicated, it can fight the cause of that itch. So if you suffer from chafing, rash, or jock itch, get Cruex. C-R-U-E-X, and get relief.
Well, 8:15 tomorrow, the final game here in Kansas City of the American League Championship Series. Ed Figueroa for the Yankees and Denny Leonard, a right-hander, for the Kansas City Royals. Of course, the Yankees will return home to play these Royals Tuesday night at the stadium, 8:15 game time. Wednesday afternoon, if necessary. And also Thursday night, if necessary. Well, a lot of managers have finally gotten things settled. Frank Robinson signed a one-year contract with Cleveland. Dick Williams signed a 2-year pact with Montreal. Charlie Fox is now the GM there. Vern Rapp signed a one-year contract with the Cardinals, and Joe Altobelli a one-year contract with the Giants. Frank White leads off with the Royals. Here in the bottom of the third, he takes outside a ball. Rumor has it that Chuck Tanner might want to go take Danny Murtaugh's place at Pittsburgh. Swung on and fouled back. It's 1-1. Of course, Tanner allegedly signed a 3-year contract with Charlie Finley. Whatever that means. A ball and a strike on Frank White. He's leading off with the Royals here in the third inning. He bunts it and fouls it back upon the screen. 1-2. I think the surprise was, to me at least, was Kenny Boyer not getting the job at St. Louis. He's been managing their top farm system for quite a while. But Vern Rapp is a new manager. The 1-2 to White. Curveball just missed outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Give White a lot of room in left center. Here's the 2-2 pitch to him. High bounce to third base. Nettles charges. He's got flips on the first base, and White's out. 1 away. Put out 5-3. Even the coaches are moving around. Dave Garcia, who had coached third for the Indians, will do the same thing next year for the California Angels. Norm Sherry given a new contract by the Angels. Johnny Singh will be coaching the pitchers at Atlanta. Here's Freddie Patek, the shortstop. Takes a strike. Patek, 32 years old today. He's batting .241 on the year with a home run, 43 runs batted in. The next pitch is hit to left field. White going back, still going. Now he waits. He's there, and he's got it. 2 outs. 8 in a row for Catfish Hunter, and here's the catcher, Buck Martinez. Martinez batting at .228 on the year, with 5 home runs and 34 runs batted in. Yankees lead 2-0, bottom of the third, 2 outs, nobody on. Here's the first pitch to Martinez. Fastball, letter high on the outside corner, strike. Cat winds and give you deals. Misses outside this time. It's 1-1. He hadn't been missing by much. Yankees lead 2-0, third inning. The 1-1 pitch to Martinez. He checks the swing, fouls it down the right field line. Chambliss is after it, but it's out of play. They have built a new photographer section here down the right field line and also down the left field line. Looks like it's made out of plywood. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball is swung on and missed. Martinez goes down swinging, and Catfish Hunters retired the first 9. 3 up, 3 down for the Kansas City Royals. At the end of 3, the Yankees 2, the Royals nothing.
Isn't it time you knew Yoo-hoo chocolate drink? Do yourself a favor and join the super flavor of America's favorite chocolate drink. It's got real goodness, protein goodness, and cool, refreshing taste. It's the chocolate charge up that's non-carbonated. Doesn't even have to be refrigerated. So isn't it time to do Yoo-hoo chocolate drink? It's so delicious. Yoo-hoo chocolate drink.
Isn't it time you knew Yoo-hoo? Great chocolate taste.
so refreshing. And Yoo-Hoo contains high-quality protein made from 99% fat-free milk. Yoo-Hoo is not carbonated, needs no refrigeration before it's opened. Get Yoo-Hoo and keep your action going.
So isn't it time you do Yoo-Hoo? Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink. It's so delicious. Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink. Yoo-Hoo.
Yoo-Hoo is another fine product of Iroquois brand.
Well, at the end of 3 here at Kansas City Royal Stadium, the Yankees lead the Royals 2-0. The Yankees have 2 runs on 5 hits. The Royals no runs on no hits, and the Royals have been hurt by 2 errors. And here to take you over the next 3 innings, the all-time Yankee shortstop, the Scooter, Phil Rizzuto.
All right, William. And back where I had 2 of the happiest years of my life, right here in Kansas City, with the then Kansas City Blues. The Yankees happy right now, enjoying a 2-0 lead. By the way, the Yankees Championship Series program, which is a collector's item, is now available by mail. You can get your copy by sending $1.50, which includes postage and handling, to Championship Magazine, Yankee Stadium, Bronx, New York. The zip is 10451. Elliott Maddox steps in and takes a pitch low and inside, ball 1. Elliott bounced to short his first time up. Absolutely perfect day. Playoff weather. And there's a looper in the right center field. Coming over to his right is Poquette, and he makes the catch. 1 away. That's the spot to hit him out to right field, the way that wind is blowing today. Blowing a gale out towards right field. It'll bring up Willie Randolph. Willie robbed of a base hit on a fine play by George Brett. Brett, who had a rough top of the first inning, charged with 2 throwing errors, had set up the Yankees 2 runs. Larry Gura winds, kicks, delivers a curve that's in there, strike call. I tell you, Gura's got to give him credit. He had a rough first inning, could have been out of it with no runs. And he has been bearing down since then. The 1-strike pitch is hit in the air to left center field. Moving to his left is Wolford and makes the running catch. And that sun must be tough out there. The left fielder, shortstop, and third baseman are having problems with fly balls. If it had not been for the wind blowing from left to right, that ball would have been up the gap in deep left center. But as it is, it's a long out, 2 away. And Fred Stanley, who lined a single to right field, the batter. Stanley, who had an outstanding year for the Yankees, filled the shortstop gap beautifully. Pitch to Fred, line to left center. That's going to be in for extra bases. That's going to roll to the wall. Knocked down by Cowens, but Stanley is in a second with a stand-up double. Cowens did a great job even getting his glove on that ball. And Fred Stanley, who probably was taking the lightest of any of the Yankee hitters in the lineup, is 2 for 2 with a single and a double. He hit a bullet up the gap in left center. 2 out now, Mickey Rivers. Mickey started the Yankee rally with a typical Rivers hit. A bouncing ball over the bag at third that he beat out. And then Brett's throw went into right field, and Rivers went to second. Mickey scored the first run of this playoff series. But in the second inning, Gura, pitching him beautifully, struck him out. Stanley leads off second. The pitch to Rivers, low, scooped up by Martinez, ball 1. On deck, Roy White. Al Cowens is shading Rivers in left center. Good gap down the right field line for Mickey Rivers if he ever gets around on one. The pitch is lined right at Cowens. He starts in and is there and makes the catch. So Cowens was positioned perfectly for the line drive by Mickey Rivers. No runs, a hit, no errors, a man left. And in the middle of the 4th, it's the Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
Honey, you know the kids are growing up. Why don't we take a trip this summer the whole family will always remember?
Come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC.
If a little extra money could make this the summer of summers for your family, come on into HFC and ask about our vacation loan. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC. You can use our money to get where you want to be. So come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on into HFC.
For a large or small loan, call HFC in New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut. See your phone book for the household finance office nearest you.
All right, the Yankees leading 2-0 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And Catfish Hunter will be facing the top of the order as he retired the first 9 Royals in a row over the first 3 innings. And Jim Wolford, who went in and is batting in Amos Otis' spot in the lineup, will be the first batter. Otis, trying to beat out a bunt in the first inning, was thrown out on a beautiful play by Catfish Hunter, who really jumped off the mound to throw Otis out. So Otis had to leave, and Wolford is in there. All right, Catfish Hunter gets the sign from Thurman Munson. And his pitch to Wolford is a slider over the outside corner, strike call. Cat's next pitch, foul back, and it's 1-1. Nobody out, nobody on here in the bottom of the fourth. The Yankees out in front 2-0. Wolford finished the year batting .249. That pitch a little outside as Catfish trying to get him to nibble, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wolford had 10 doubles, 2 triples, a homer, and 24 runs batted in. Low and away again. And it's 2-2. Rivers really shallow in right center. There's a pitch, strike 3 called. Hunter really nicking the outside corner and picks up his 3rd strikeout of the ball game. And it will bring up George Brett, who was robbed of a base hit on an outstanding diving catch by Greg Nettles. Greg came up to throw him out. Brett, who led the American League in batting, over his teammate Hal McRae, who was on deck. And the first pitch by Hunter, outside, ball 1. Rivers now moves slightly towards left center field on the left-hand hitting Brett. Roy White moves in and left and near the line. And the pitch is lined to right center field. Rivers digging, has to play it on 1 bounce, and that's the first base hit of the ball game. The first base runner for the Kansas City Royals. A line single to center field. And that'll bring up Hal McRae. McRae struck out his first time up. Now you got to watch Brett. He has got some speed. These Royals like to run, even when they're behind, like the Yankees. Stretch by Hunter, and the pitch is taken for a strike. Brett had 21 stolen bases on the year. He was caught 11 times. Pretty good gap in left center now for McRae as Mickey Rivers shades him towards right center field. Chambliss holding the bag against Brett. Here's the stretch. There goes Brett. The ball is swung at, missed. Throw to second. They got him. What a throw by Thurman Munson and a tag by Stanley. The hit and run was on as McRae swung at the pitch and missed. A beautiful throw by Munson to Stanley, 2-6 to get the sliding George Brett, and there are 2 out now and nobody on. The Yankees defensively have been outstanding so far in the first 3 2/3 innings. Four good defensive plays by the Yankees. One by Hunter, one by Nettles, one by Randolph, and one here by Munson and Stanley. And the pitch is down low to McRae. It's a ball and 2 strikes. On deck, Big John Mayberry. Yankees in front 2-0, bottom of the fourth. There's one hit deep to left field. Roy White digging to his right, coming in now as the wind gets it. And Roy drops it, but it's a foul ball. There is not much room in that left field corner from the foul line to the wall, and the wind played tricks with that ball. At one time, it looked like it was going to be a home run as Roy started back. Then he had to come in. And as he crossed the foul line, he tried a one-handed. It hit his glove and bounced out. And I don't believe Roy will receive an error on the play. Normally, Roy White comes up with a ball hit like that. But we told you the Sun field is brutal for the third baseman, shortstop, and left fielder. Pitch to McRae. Just got a piece of it off the end of the bat. Count holds at a ball and 2 strikes. 2 out, nobody on. Roy moves over towards left center field now on McRae. And the pitch is foul. That'll be out of play down the right field line, back into the crowd. Everything is thrown out the window. Statistics, what one team did against another during the season. And I think Billy Martin put it beautifully. He says pitching is a dominant factor, but so is luck. And he struck him out again. A foul tip held by Thurman Munson. As Catfish picks up his 4th strikeout of the ball game. No runs, a hit, no errors, nobody left. At the end of 4, the Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
Get yourself with the best. Get yourself up, go Ozark. You're a hard man to beat. You've got wings on your feet. Get yourself up, go Ozark. You're gonna win every time. With the going airline. Get yourself up, go Ozark.
If you're a businessman who's going places, Ozark is your airline. Our #1 priority is to get you where you're going as quickly, comfortably, and efficiently as possible. That's why we plan our flight schedules and connections for the business flyers, and why we'll arrange for a rental car ready to go at your destination. If you're a businessman who's going places, Ozark is your airline.
You can go direct to Central Illinois on Ozark jets and avoid changing planes. Call your professional travel advisor or Ozark for schedule information.
Play-by-play. The Armed Forces Network is also...
Right now, let's pause for station identification on the New York Yankee Home of Champions Radio Network.
WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. This is Mel Allen. On its 30th birthday, Emery Air Freight has this advice for you. Never trust an air freight company under 30.
Leading off for New York.
All right, with the Yankees leading 2-0 going into the top of the 5th, Roy White will lead it off. Roy walked his first time up to help set up the Yankee 2-run first inning, then bounced to third in the 3rd. Larry Gura, the left-hander, kicks, delivers to White. It's swing and a miss on a good changeup, strike 1. And that is Gura's best pitch. He has excellent motion with it. It'll be White, Munson, and Piniella here in the top of the 5th inning. Gura winds again, and his pitch is fouled back upstairs and out of play. 2 quick strikes on Roy White. Roy White, who just missed the exciting years the Yankees had, winning pennants year after year. It's been a long dry spell for Roy, but he's in a playoff now, and that pitch is outside. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Still a young man, but the senior citizen of the Yankee team, as far as playing years with the Yankees concerned. He hits one to right field. Moving back now is Poquette. Back, it's what a catch by Poquette. He misjudged that ball and then went back and running back sideways, backhanded the ball as it was going over his head. A beautiful play by Poquette. Not graceful, but still an excellent play. It took at least a triple away from Roy White. And that's the spot to hit that ball, the opposite field, the wind blowing briskly from left to right. Here's Thurman Munson. Thurman singled to center in the 1st and scored, and bounced to short in the 3rd. And Gura's pitch, Munson bluffs the bunt and takes the strike. Thurman, who is second in the American League in runs batted in. And now Thurman wants to take a look at that baseball. Gura lobs it in underhand. Joe Brinkman looks it over and finds nothing wrong with it, keeps it in play. Lou Piniella on deck. 1 out, nobody on. Yanks in front 2-0, scoring both runs in the first inning on 2 errors by George Brett. 2 throwing errors. Gura kicks, delivers. There's a looper to first base. Mayberry right there, and he's got it. Gura really jammed Munson right off the hand. And a soft little fly ball to John Mayberry. 2 men out. It'll bring up Lou Piniella, who struck out his first time up and singled to left his second time at bat. Lou has a lot of fans here at Kansas City. He played here for the Royals. And the pitch to Lou is a curve high and outside, ball 1. 2 out, nobody on. Ball game really moving along. We're in the top of the 5th. Fastball hit foul down the right field line. That'll go back into the seats and out of play. Full house here today at beautiful Royals Stadium. Today, I bet they wish they had Arrowhead Stadium to play in. They could have filled that ballpark. Seats over 70,000. This one seats a little bit over 40,000. But it is a magnificent ballpark. Artificial turf, fountains in the outfield. Now the 1-1 pitch. High and tight, 2-1. Dan Bartolucci corrects me and said there are waterfalls out there. Now the 2-1 pitch. Change up, base hit in the hole. He didn't fool Piniella that time with the change. He got Lou the first time up. At that time, Lou just pulled it in the hole between third and short to left field. Pinella's second base hit, the Yankees' 7th base hit, and here's Chris Chambliss, who has one of those 7 base hits. A single to center field in the 3rd inning. In the 1st inning, Chambliss got credit for a run batted in on his ground ball to George Brett. So 2 men out. They play Chambliss straight away in the outfield, give him both lines, right and left field lines. Gura sets, delivers the swing and a miss on a breaking pitch, strike 1. They have 6 umpires today, just like in the World Series. Fastball as high as 1-1. Umpire down the left field line and an umpire down the right field line. Art Franz down the left field line, Larry McCoy down the right field line. And you couldn't ask for better weather. Absolutely beautiful here in mid-America. Gura sets, delivers a foul back in the seats and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A lot of sniffling in the booth. All of us have colds and sore throats. A lot of the Yankee players have it. All right, Gura ready for the 1-2 delivery. There goes Piniella. The ball is swung at, missed, strike 3, so Martinez does not throw. And that's the second strikeout for Gura. No runs, a hit, no errors, a man left at the end of 4 1/2. The Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
American League playoffs begin on October 9th. Guess the playoff scores and win a week in Bermuda in the Lincoln Savings Bank Playoff Contest. Grand prize, 7 days and 6 nights for 2 in Bermuda. And for 9 lucky runners-up, $50 gift certificates good for fabulous dining at great New York restaurants. On a postcard, tell us if the Yankees will win the playoffs. Next to the number 1, write yes or no. Then next to the number 2, write the total number of runs the Yankees will score in all the playoff games combined. Finally, next to the number 3, write the combined total of playoff runs both teams will score. Print your name and address and mail to the Lincoln, 531 Broadway, Brooklyn, New York, 11206. That's the Lincoln, 531 Broadway, Brooklyn, New York, 11206. If no entry is correct, the closest answers win. All prizes will be awarded. In case of ties, winners will be chosen by lot. Score with the Lincoln. Contest void where prohibited. Lincoln employees and their families not eligible.
All right, we're ready to go in the bottom of the fifth inning. And it'll be Mayberry, Cowens, and Poquette to face Catfish Hunter. The Yanks in front 2-0. In tomorrow night's game, remember it's a night game tomorrow night, it'll be Ed Figueroa for the Yankees and Dennis Leonard for the Kansas City Royals.
John Mayberry.
John Mayberry, who really had a disappointing year for the Royals, batted .232 with just 13 homers, though he did have 95 runs batted in, but hit only 3 home runs after the All-Star break. I tell you, this overshift on Mayberry is really something. All he's got to do is bunt that ball down the third base line. He's got a double. All right, Hunter winds, and the pitch is low and outside, ball 1. And Hunter continues to pitch him away, and Mayberry continues to try and pull the ball. Then he gets a little older and a little wiser. He'll start going to left field. The 1-0 pitch is hit in the air to right. Didn't hit it well. Elliot Maddox getting his first chance is under it and nonchalantly makes the catch. There's one away. I tell you, I don't care who the manager is when you see a defensive alignment like this.
Report to security.
I would call, I don't care who it is hitting, call them over and say, push that ball down the third base line. Especially in an important playoff game like this. Here's Al Cowens, who popped a short his first time up. Although it's tough to tell ball players what to do anymore. They got a union and a player representative and their wives. Hunter's pitch is low and outside, ball 1. Cowens, big, tall, slim right-hand batter with real good speed. The Cat winds his pitch, swing, and a foul tip. It's 1-1. Munson goes out to retrieve the ball. I think I know what's giving us the colds and sore throats, this clean, fresh air out here in mid-America. We get away from the smog and the dust and pollution in New York. There's a foul upstairs and out of play. And our lungs are not used to this clean air. Infield plays deep, as you have to on this artificial turf. The 1-2 pitch. Line to right field, but Maddox moving to his left. Makes the catch. Elliott started to nonchalant that ball, then had to shift into high gear to catch up with it and make the play, and there are 2 out.
The right fielder.
I like the way Elliott's moving now, much better than when he first started to play for the Yankees this year. Here's Tom Poquette. Hunter and Randolph collaborated on a fine play to rob Poquette of a base hit back in the second inning. Hunter slowed it down, and Randolph came in, made a beautiful off-balance throw to nip him. Left-hand batter. And a fly ball to left. This should be an easy inning for Catfish. White puts the glasses down and makes the catch, and you could see Roy White fighting that sun. 3 fly balls, 3 out. And at the end of 5, it's the Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm shaped for people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm shaped for people.
Consistency makes a great beer, and Schaefer's consistently great tasting every single time because Schaefer's brewed the old world way. Kreuzening, we call it. Since 1842, Kreuzening, the extra step of brewing twice, has kept Schaefer consistently fresh and crisp, consistently great tasting beer after Schaefer beer.
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm shaped for people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm shaped for people. A Schaefer beer goes racing a turn. You'll have one taste as good as you burn. Go out and get a Schaefer at the Schaefer People Club. Go out and get a Schaefer.
It doesn't take much to clean this infield off. Ground crew comes out with a couple of big brooms, sweeps it off, and they're ready to go. You know, it's a lot of fun watching them use the big vacuum cleaner to clean the tartan turf out here, and especially after rain. It's almost like watching a hockey game back in Madison Square Garden. One big pool table with 5 pockets out there. All right, Greg Nettles will be the batter. Nettles fly to left and bounce to second. We're in the top of the 6th, and the Yankees lead it 2-0. Scored both runs in the top of the 1st. All right, Larry Gura winds, and the pitch to Nettles is popped up, but it'll come back in the seats and out of play. Well back in the seats as the wind blows it back. Greg had a good pitch to pull to right field that time. First 2 times up, Gura pitched him away. Nettles hit the fly ball to left and tried to pull an outside pitch and bounced weakly to second base. Next pitch to Nettles is hit to left field again, and right there is Wolford. He makes the catch. So Gura has really settled down since that first inning. It'll bring up Elliot Maddox, who bounced to short and fly to right. On deck, Willie Randolph. Yankees have 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors. The Royals, no runs on just 1 hit and 2 errors. All right, Gura hands over the head, and his pitch, base hit up the middle. Maddox hitting that first pitch, and I tell you, I think if Elliot Maddox played on this field all year, he'd be a .350 hitter. He hits sharp ground balls 80% of the time. And if it's not right at the infield, it's through for a base hit. That's the 8th hit for the Yankees in the ballgame. It brings up Willie Randolph. Willie was robbed of a base hit on a fine play by George Brett in the 2nd, flying to left in the 4th. Let's see if the Yankees do a little hit and running. On deck, Fred Stanley. Stretch by Gura. Throw to first base, and Maddox, who was leaning towards second, had to scramble back. Piece of paper blowing across the tartan turf. Let's see if they have to stop play to get that out of the way. It's coming towards home plate now. And time is called while it blows towards the Yankee dugout now. Boy, that wind is really blowing. Strange as it seems, the wind on the flagpole blowing to right, and the paper was blowing in from right to left. The stretch. And the pitch is bounced to third again. Up with it, Brett. Throw to second, 1. Back to first. Double play. Around the horn, double play. 5-4-3. No runs, a hit, no errors, nobody left. At the end of 5 1/2, the Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
Hello, this is Roger Miller with a money-saving solution to what could be a serious problem. Chances are pretty darn good that the shocks on your car are pretty darn bad. You see, shocks wear so slowly you're not usually aware of the problem. So you have to make that sudden turn, quick stop, or jarring ride over a rough stretch of road. So here's the money-saving solution. The heavy-duty shock sale at your Gabriel Shock Absorber dealer. Now's the time to save on Gabriel's new low-priced heavy-duty shock, the Roadstar. Or for more control when the going gets rough, save on Red Riders, Gabriel's premium heavy-duty shock. Either one of them will give you a real bonus in driving safety and comfort. So don't wait. Check out the heavy-duty shock sale now at your participating Gabriel dealer. King of the Road.
Available at Tilden Hillside, 180-102 Hillside Avenue, Jamaica. Tilden West Hempstead, 301 Hempstead Turnpike, West Hempstead. Tilden Islip, 165 Carlton Avenue, East Islip.
Well, the attendance just announced for this first game of the American League Playoff Series, 41,077. That's the largest crowd they have ever had at a Kansas City game. The previous largest crowd was 40,849. Frank White will lead it off for the Royals here in the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees in front 2-0. White bounced to third base his first time up. He tried to bunt his way on his first time up.
Second baseman, Frank.
Fouled the pitch off and then bounced out to third. So Nettles not too deep at third base. Chambliss not too deep at first. White, a right-hand batter, crouches and chokes up, takes the pitch low, ball one. Rivers playing shallow and towards right center field on White. And the pitch is just inside, and Munson wanted that one. It's 2-0. This is only the second time in the ball game that Hunter has been behind 0-2, rather 2-0. And that pitch right down the middle, 2-1. The Cat winds, and the pitch, bouncing ball is short. Stanley up with it. And just does throw him out. That White with good speed. The crowd booing, but he was out by half a stride. And over the first 5 in the third innings, Catfish Hunter has pitched to the minimum amount of men. 16 men. There was only one base runner, and he was erased trying to steal. That was George Brett in the 4th inning. Freddie Patek flied to left field his first time up. And Hunter delivers a curve low and away, ball one. They play Patek straight away in the outfield. And Nettles and Chambliss not too deep at third and first. The next pitch, swing and a miss, 1-1. Buck Martinez, the catcher, on deck. The Cats 1-1 delivery, swing and a miss, strike 2. Hunter has 4 strikeouts in the ball game. Has 1 in the first, 1 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. And the 1-2 pitch, a little bit high, almost got Patek to bite at that one. It's 2-2. Yankees in front 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th. The 2-2 pitch, foul, backing out of play in the upper deck. Freddie Patek, who had 51 stolen bases on the year. 1 out, nobody on. Hunter's 2-2 delivery is a bounce to the third. Nettles gets a nice hop. Fires to Chambliss in plenty of time, and there are 2 away. They will bring up Buck Martinez, who struck out his first time up back in the 3rd inning. The Royals no runs on just 1 base hit, but 2 costly throwing errors by George Brett. And the pitch to the right-hand hitting Martinez, foul just below it. Again, Rivers is shading Martinez slightly to right center field. White over towards left center. And Elliot Maddox a little bit towards the right field line. The infield playing back. The next pitch over the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Catfish ahead quickly, 0-2. Let's see if he nibbles. The 2-strike pitch, a little high, ball and 2 strikes. Trying to get Martinez to chase one. Hunter gets the sign from Munson. His pitch is foul, but it'll be back and out of play. So the count is still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kneeling on deck, the leadoff man, Jim Wolford. Hunter takes a little extra time. Now he's got the sign. And the pitch. Curve, strike 3 call. He had Martinez leaning back on that pitch. And over the first 6 innings, Hunter has pitched to just 18 men. And at the end of 6, it's the Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
Nowadays, you can't listen to radio, watch television, or read a newspaper without some auto manufacturer telling you what great gas mileage his car gets. They quote the EPA, tell you how many miles per gallon they get in the city, and how many they get on the highway. Well, all these facts are great to know. But if there's anything you need as much as cars that make your gasoline go a little further, it's a gasoline that makes your dollar go a little further. At the Getty Oil Company, we have a new gasoline that's perfect for newer cars. Getty Unleaded Regular, with the octane performance of regular and the clean running smoothness of unleaded. But most important, we sell Getty Unleaded Regular for less than most other major unleaded. So now you can choose a car that gives you more miles for your money and the gasoline. Getty Premium and new Getty Unleaded Regular. We've got what's best for your car.
I want to tell you, this is a happy day. I have seen Frank Messer for the first time walk without his crutches. And I think that is a banner day, and Frank knows how happy we all are about that. He's really getting around quickly now. Big Frank.
Okay, Phil Rizzuto, thank you very much. Bob Levin, the Yankee pitching coach, was kidding me. He said, we had a vote in the clubhouse, and you got to get rid of the crutch for the playoffs. All right, we move along to the seventh inning, and we'll say good afternoon, everybody, wherever you're listening to Yankee baseball this afternoon. Fred Stanley leads it off. And Larry Gura's first pitch. Hit in the air to shallow right field. Coming on the right fielder, Poquette, going back White, and the second baseman, White, makes the catch. See, that kid White has great range.
The center fielder, Mickey Rivers.
One out, and Mickey Rivers steps in. It's the first time they'd retired Fred Stanley. He had singled and doubled. Quickman singled his first time up. Infield hit, went to second base on a throwing error. Cincinnati struck out and lined to center. Pops this one up, first base side. Mayberry rather, in foul territory. Dancing under it, makes the catch. Two down. And Roy White will step in. The Yankees lead at 2-0. Getting 2 runs in the first inning on 2 base hits, a walk, and 2 throwing errors by third baseman George Brett. Roy White walked and scored the first run of the ball game, grounded out to third and fly to right. Gura's first pitch to him has the plate for a strike. So important to win the first game of a short series like this. Put the pressure on the other guys, make them play catch-up. Especially important to win it in their ballpark. Roy has something in his eye and steps out. And quickly, trainer Gene Monahan comes racing out. Roy may have had a contact lens slip. That's probably what it is. So Gene Monahan, ably assisted by plate umpire Joe Brinkman, has everything in order. While Monahan was checking Roy White, Martinez trotted out for a quick conference with Gura. 2 outs, nobody on. Yankees lead 2-0. We're in the 7th. The wind and the pitch. Line drive back off the glove, fielded by the second baseman White. He throws to first in time. It looked like Gura might have just deflected that one with his fingertips. At any rate, White is out and the side is retired. In the middle of the 7th, the score, the Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
Colonial's Yankee Franks, the beef Franks with the taste that takes you out to the ball game, present the flavor of Yankee baseball. In 1941, Joe DiMaggio hit in 56 straight games, but he was jolting pitchers regularly before then, as Dizzy Dean found out in the 38 series.
Henrik on first base, nobody is out, DiMaggio up. Score 4-3 New York. DiMaggio batting right-handed, 1 hit and 3 times up. The pitch, hitting straight away, a long, high fly ball going far out into left field. The ball is over the fence for a home run. A tremendous smash far over the left field fence for a home run by Joe DiMaggio, driving in Henrik ahead of him and making the score now 6-3.
The flavor of Yankee baseball is brought to you by Colonial's Yankee Franks. The only Franks sold at Yankee Stadium are now available at supermarkets near you. Colonial's Yankee Franks, the beef Franks with the taste that takes you out to the ball game.
Well, a crowd of 41,077 paid for this ball game this afternoon, up for the 7th inning stretch. We'll remind you we'll be on at 8:10 tomorrow night for an 8:15 ball game. The on-deck circle at 8 o'clock New York time. Ed Figueroa pitches tomorrow for the Yankees, and Denny Leonard scheduled for Kansas City. Jim Walford leads off as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Walford's been up once and was called out on strikes. He did not start the ball game. He had to replace Amos Otis. When Otis sprained his ankle trying to run out a bunt in the 1st inning. Right-hand hitter, Catfish deals, breaking ball, he bunts it, foul. Came down off his foot, wound up in front of the plate. Just letter perfect weather out here in Kansas City. You know, somebody scared me. One of the newspapers carried a story. They might have snow flurries out here a couple of nights ago. Bill Kane did get that cold. Cold wind blew in from Montana, somebody said. 1 strike pitch. Low and away with a breaking ball. Catfish has faced the minimum 18 men. He has allowed 1 base hit. That to George Brett. He was thrown out stealing. Cat has not walked anybody. And the breaking ball is hit in the air to fairly shallow right field. Elliot Maddox calling for it. Rivers backs him up, and Maddox makes the catch. We'll pause for station identification on the New York Yankee Home of Champions Radio Network.
George Brett.
WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. This is Mel Allen. A package shouldn't have to go out of its way to get where it's going. Emery Air Freight, the shortest distance between 2 points.
Brett led the league with a .333 batting average. It went down to the last time at bat when he hit a fly ball to left field against Minnesota. Steve Bry, according to reports, misjudged the ball. It bounced by and went for an inside-the-park home run. And Brett edged McRae by 1 point. Left-hand hitter lines a base hit into left field. Roy White fields the ball, throws back in, and Brett is 2 for 3. It could have been 3 for 3 had it not been for a fine play by Greg Nettles in the 1st inning. So the Royals have a runner on. The tying run comes to the plate, and that is Hal McRae. McRae has struck out twice.
Designated hitter Hal McRae.
Now, the last time Brett was on, they had him running with McRae the batter. A little bit surprising. Munson out, talks to Catfish. Catfish walks around the first base side of the mound, blows on his pitching hand. Hunter pitching an exceptional ball game. 2 base hits, no walks. He has struck out 5. Yankees lead by a score of 2-0. Hunter sets and the pitch. Foul back. Up on the screen. Al McRae is the American League's top lifetime designated hitter with a .313 career batting average as a DH. Hunter comes set, and the next pitch. Popped up, right side. Willie Randolph waves everybody off. Second baseman takes it. 2 down. And now John Mayberry. Well, even though Mayberry hit only 3 home runs after the All-Star break, Stroud knows that if he gets his pitch, he is still the guy that could tie this ball game up for the Royals. He has the benefit of the wind blowing toward right field. The Yankees go into the 5 outfield defense. Stanley back in the outfield, along with Randolph, and the pitch is high and away. Catfish Hunter has been pitching Mayberry away. Got him on a fly ball to left and a fly ball to right. Neither ball was hit well. The set and the pitch. Swing and a miss, burned a fastball by him over the outside part of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Yankees lead 2-0. Out in right field, Elliot Maddox well around toward the corner. Rivers over in right center. Roy White in left center. And the pitch comes in high.
Ken Clark, report to security.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Report to security.
Mayberry batted .232 on the year. He hit 13 home runs all season. 10 of those before the All-Star break. Hunter offers again, and the pitch is popped up left side. Greg Nettles coming in near the bag, getting under it at third, and makes a basket catch to retire the side. No runs, a base hit, a man left, end of 7. The Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
Fairchild has designed a new digital timepiece just because. Truly slim and uniquely designed with her in mind. It tells the hour, minutes, seconds, month, and date, all at the touch of a button. It may not be her birthday or your anniversary, but just because she is that special person. So why not surprise her with a digital timepiece from Fairchild? Pick the Fairchild that fits her best. Because.
That AMCO is big, the world's biggest transmission specialist, with over 525 service centers in the U.S. of A. and Canada. So no matter where you go, from New York to L.A., from Ontario to Texas, AMCO's got you covered. Nobody else is that big. Nobody. So if you have trouble with your car's transmission, you can usually get one-day service from AMCO Transmissions. AA MCO. The big guys.
We go to the 8th inning. The Yankees will have Thurman Munson, Lou Piniella, and Chris Chambliss coming on.
Immediately after the game, the start of this game, and both managers will appear at the media conference room for post-game interviews. The media conference room is on the clubhouse level.
I'll tell you, Larry Gura,
Level 1 on the elevator.
not all through his own fault. Gave up 2 runs in the first inning on a couple of throwing errors by George Brett. He's come back after that. He has allowed 6 base hits to the Yankees, but I think he has showed everybody something coming back from that shaky start, which, as we said, was not his fault. Some pitchers could just have completely blown after that. Thurman Munson singled his first time up, scored the Yankees' second run. Since then, he has grounded out to short and popped up to Mayberry at first. Gura rocks into the motion. Here's the first pitch to Munson. Line drive, and it is caught by the shortstop, Patek. Patek shoots out catch. Munson hit the ball right on the nose, and Patek, 2 quick steps to his right, pulled it in.
The designated hitter, Lou Piniella.
Lou Piniella will step in. Lou has 2 of the Yankees' hits in the ballgame. He struck out in the first inning. Piniella, one-time Rookie of the Year here in Kansas City. Right-hand hitter, deep in the box. Pitch to him is high, ball 1. Piece of paper loose out in left field. And ball boy scrambling for it, trying to get to it. Fly ball is hit out into right. Coming on for it is Poquette. To his left, he makes the catch, and that's all for Piniella. There are 2 down. The batter will be Chris Chambliss.
The first baseman, Chris Chambliss.
Chambliss had 14 game-winning hits for the Yankees during the regular season. The leader in that department, though, was Greg Nettles with 15. Chris in this game has driven in a run, grounding into a force out. He singled to center and struck out. Gura's first pitch, high and tight, ball 1. They play Chambliss to pull. The second baseman, White, back in what would be the outfield grass. Patek, the shortstop, nearly behind second. And the next pitch to him is lined out into right center field. That's going to be a base hit. See if it gets through, and it gets through to the wall. Extra bases. Chambliss takes a look. He's going to go for 3. The relay by White to third base. He gets away from the third baseman, and Chambliss is safe. Gura backs up the play. And I believe they will score a 3-base hit for Chambliss.
The third baseman, Greg Nettles.
So Chambliss picks up base hit number 9 for the Yankees as he got one up the gap in right center field. On the ordinary grass outfield, that ball would have been cut off in the gap by the right fielder, Poquette. So Chambliss in at third with a triple. Here's Greg Nettles, 0 for 3. Gregg led the American League in home runs this year with 32, more than any third baseman in Yankee history. Hits this one down the left field line in the air. Long, long run for Wolford. Still going after it. Can't get to it. It's a foul ball. Nettles in this game has flied twice to the left fielder and grounded out to second base. Well, you have to think if you're a pitcher on a day like this with strong wind blowing toward right field, you'd have to pitch the left-hand batters away. Make them go the other way. Nonetheless, the infield and the outfield plays Nettles to pull. Chambliss down at third. There are 2 out. Larry Gura, full windup. The left-hander kicks and delivers, and Nettles tried to check his swing and could not. No balls and 2 strikes. Yankees lead in the game 2-0. Game number 2 tomorrow night, 8:15 game time, 8:10 broadcast time. 0-2 pitch to Gregg. Inside, rocks him back. Saw Doc Ellis warming up in the Yankee bullpen a little while ago. I think a strong indication that Doc will start Tuesday night's game back in New York. 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 call. Nettles checked his swing, but a called third strike retires the side. No runs, a base hit. The man is left on, and at the end of 7.5, the score. The Yankees 2 and the Royals nothing.
This is Leo DeRocher. May I get personal with you for a minute? Even if you shower twice a day, you can't wash away jock itch. What you need is something made specifically for jock itch, and that's Cruex. C-R-U-E-X. Cruex medicated powder relieves the itching, the chafing, and the rash. And because it's medicated, it can fight the cause of that itch. So if you suffer from chafing, rash, or jock itch, get Cruex. C-R-U-E-X. And get relief.
If all you need is money, come on into HFC.
We're Household Finance, and last year we helped over 2 million people get the most out of life, whether it was a dream vacation, a snowmobile, or a stereo. That's why we're here. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in, come on in, come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
Following the game, we will provide copies of the box score, play-by-play. We will have
Bottom half of the 8th inning, the Royals have Al Collins, Tom Boquette, and Frank White scheduled up. Collins, a right-hand batter, has popped up to second and lined out to right fielder Elliot Maddox. Made a quick move to his left to pull in the line drive.
Leading off for Kansas City, the center fielder, Al Collins.
Al Collins started the game in right field. He had to move to center when Amos Otis got hurt. We have not had a report on Otis' ankle. He sprained it trying to beat out a bunt his first time at bat. Cat winds and deals, low and inside, ball 1. Al Collins, a fine defensive outfielder. Hit for a .265 average during the year. He does not have power. Cat gets the slider over the outside corner. The count is 1-1. They play him straight up the middle on the infield. The outfield shades him, though, toward the right side. Hunter's 1-1 delivery. Foul back just below us. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Collins hit 3 home runs during the regular season. He batted in 59 runs. He had a career high of 59 RBIs and 23 stolen bases. Very deep in the batter box. Tall, willowy. And he lines this one down the right field line. It is a fair ball. Bounces into the corner and does not come out true to Maddox. Collins is going to have a triple out of it. There's Randolph's relay to third, not in time. Willie Randolph made a strong throw to third base, but not quite in time. So the Royals start things off here in the 8th inning on a triple by Al Collins. The ball is hit into the corner in this ballpark. Usually, it will hit the curved wall and come back to the outfielder. Maddox played it, I thought, very well, but the ball did not take the true bounce that you expect. Well, as we told you, Collins has good speed, giving that extra step or two, and he had the extra base. First extra base hit in the ball game for the KC Royals, and it brings up Tom Poquette. Poquette is grounded out and flied out. Left-hand batter, catch pitch, just inside. Hunter goes to the full windup with a runner at third. Nobody out. The infield is back, and the pitch again just missed inside. Mickey Rivers, a very shallow center field for Poquette. Elliot Maddox shaded a bit toward the corner and right, and Roy White is shallow and left. The next pitch to him. Cut on and bounce to the right side. Willie Randolph is over, throws to first in time. The run scores. So the Royals are on the scoreboard. The Yankees now lead 2-1 as Poquette picks up a run batted in. Willie Randolph had to make a quick move to his left to field that ball. Got it to Chambliss in plenty of time. So the Yankees conceding the run. Now lead by a score of 2-1, and it looks like Whitey Herzog may be going to his bench. Cookie Rojas has come out. It looks like Cookie Rojas will bat for Frank White. Well, you can tell from the crowd, Rojas very popular. He's getting a standing ovation. A standing ovation, and Billy Martin is on his way out to the mound to talk to Catfish Hunter. Cookie Rojas in the twilight of a fine baseball career. Billy Martin has called the shortstop, Fred Stanley, and of course Munson is out there. So Cookie Rojas, during the regular season, batted .242, came up only 132 times with 32 base hits, 6 doubles, no triples, no home runs, 16 runs batted in. He was used very often with a man on first when they needed to move the runner up. He can hit to the right side very well, and Cat works him away, ball 1. The Yankees lead by a score of 2-1. 1 out, nobody on here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Hunter brings it again, and a check swing strike call, 1-1. Plate umpire is Joe Brinkman for this first game of the American League Championship Series. Hunter's 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball gets the outside corner. He snapped off a beauty. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and Rojas steps back to question the call. Hunter has pitched an outstanding ball game. 1-2 delivery in the dirt. Knocked down by Thurman Munson. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In right field, Elliot Maddox well over toward the foul line. Rivers shallow and toward the right side of center. Roy White straight away in left, so the gap is in left center field. Infield backs off. 2-2 pitch. Fastball is foul back. Count holds at 2-2. Hunter looks over the new baseball. He doesn't like the feel or the look of it. Throws it into Munson and gets another one from the plate umpire Brinkman. Larry Barnett is down at first base. George Maloney calls the plays at second. 2-2 pitch coming. Foul back and just overhead. The third base umpire is Bill Haller with Arthur France in left field and Larry McCoy in right field. Hunter takes the sign, kicks and deals, fastball popped up. Down the third base line comes Nettles in foul territory. He's under it. He's got it. 2 down. Here's Freddie Patek, the shortstop. Patek is flied to left and grounded out to third. The Yankees lead it 2-1. 2 outs and nobody on. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Against Patek, Stanley and Randolph play pretty well up the middle, with Randolph now shading a bit toward the bag. The outfield bunches up, giving him both foul lines, and a curve is hit on the ground off the glove of Stanley to left field. That'll be a base hit. Roy White fires back in. Fred Stanley moved to his right, tried to backhand it, appeared just to tick off his glove and kept right on going. So Patek is on with base hit number 4 for Kansas City. And this is the first inning in which the Royals have had more than one base runner. Buck Martinez is due up, and again, Whitey Herzog goes to the bench.
Martinez, number 9.
Jamie Quirk. Jamie Quirk is the left-hand hitter. Quirk during the regular season batted .246. He was used sometimes as a designated hitter. He was up 114 times, 28 base hits. He had 6 doubles, 1 home run, and 15 runs batted in. Yankees lead 2-1. Chambliss now will hold on Patek. Patek stole 51 bases during the season. He's off on the first pitch. A pitch out. Munson's throw. And he is out at second base. Fred Stanley over to cover, and the speedy Patek is thrown out as Munson called for a pitch out, and that retires the side. 1 run on 2 hits, none left. At the end of 8, it's the Yankees 2 and the Royals 1.
Beer like no other beer. I'm chained for people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm chained for people.
Consistency makes a great beer, and Schaefer's consistently great tasting every single time because Schaefer's brewed the old world way. Kreuzening, we call it. Since 1842, Kreuzening, the extra step of brewing twice, has kept Schaefer consistently fresh and crisp, consistently great tasting beer after Schaefer beer.
I want a beer like no other beer. I'm shaped for people. I want flavor that won't disappear. I'm shaped for people. A Schaefer beer goes straight to your thirst. Your last one tastes as good as your first. Go out and get a Schaefer and be shanked a paper of dirt. Go out and get a Schaefer and be shanked a paper of dirt.
Well, Cookie Rojas comes in to play second base for the Royals, and the catcher now will be John Wathan. So Rojas at second and Wathan catching for the Royals. Well, this ball game is going down just like most of them this year between the Yankees and the Royals. 6 games during the regular season decided by 1 run. Royals winning 7 of the 12 games played, but the Yankees able to come out of Royal Stadium with a 3-3 split. The Royals had the slight edge back at Yankee Stadium. And, of course, we will be back at the stadium Tuesday night. Then, if necessary, Wednesday afternoon, and then, if necessary, Thursday night. Meanwhile, we don't know what's going to happen down in Philadelphia. The last report we had from there, a lot of rain. They were scheduled for a night game in the first game of the National League Championship Series. Lower third of the batting order for the Yankees in the 9th. Elliott Maddox, Willie Randolph, and Fred Stanley against left-hander Larry Gura. Gura's first pitch to Maddox. Breaking ball is over. Strike 1. Maddox is 1 for 3. He's grounded out to short, fly to right, and single back up the middle. Elliott missed nearly 2 years because of the damaged knee, which required surgery. He hits this one in the air to center field, got it in off his hands, dancing under it, Al Cowan. Wynn takes it away from him, but he stays with it and makes the catch. 1 away. The batter will be Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph is 0 for 3. Grounded out to third, fly to left, and grounded into a double play started by the third baseman, Brett. He hits this one sharply foul outside of third. Pitch was in on him. Willie stepped back and pulled it foul past Coach Dick Hauser. Fred Stanley on deck. Gura winds and offers and changes up high, 1-1. Willie Randolph. had a good shot for Rookie of the Year honors had he stayed healthy all year, and had it not been for a guy named Mark Bidrich. As a breaking ball is over, strike call. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Randolph turned around on the call. Another plus to Willie Randolph. He has a good eye for the strike zone. 1-2 pitch. Ooh, fans thought that was a strike. The count evens 2-2. Outfield spreads out on Randolph, and now the right fielder, Poquette, moves more towards center. This pitch is hit in the air to right center field. Moving forward is Cowens. The wind carries it again, but Cowens stays there, and he makes the catch. I think you get a ball up in that breeze, it becomes an adventure for the outfielders. Very strong wind blowing from left toward right. Here's Fred Stanley. He is singled, doubled, and popped up. Gura goes for the rosin, throws it down. Yankees lead 2-1. We're in the top half of the 9th inning. Fast-moving ball game. And the first pitch comes in high. According to my watch, this ball game is only about an hour and 50 minutes old in that neighborhood. 1-0 pitch is lined out toward right field, coming hard for it, and trapping the ball is Poquette. So Stanley has his 3rd base hit in the ball game. Poquette tried to shoestring it and trapped it. Fred Stanley, 3 for 4. The Yankees now have their 10th base hit off Gura, and the batter is Mickey Rivers. Quick started it all back in the 1st. Infield hit went to second on a throwing error by Brett. And that started the Yankees off to the 2-run inning. Mayberry holding on Stanley. And the first pitch to Rivers. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Down at third base, Brett plays him in at the sliding pit portion of the bag area. Patek and Rojas up the middle. Shallow in left, straightaway in center, straightaway in right. Pitch is high and away, and the count evens 1-1 on Mickey Rivers. Since his infield hit, Rivers has struck out, lined to center, and popped up to the first baseman, Mayberry. Pitch to him is swung on and missed. Ball and 2 strikes. Pitch was breaking down and away from Mickey. Out of shortstop, Patek, before Gura delivers, take his gloved hand and wave it around in the air. I think if I were a hitter, it would be distracting. Now this time he doesn't do it. 1-2 deal. Hit on the ground, left side. They're going to have to hurry. Patek goes to second base, save. Rojas came off the bag. I'd have to score a base hit.
The left fielder, Roy White.
So base hit will be given Rivers. Good scoring decision. Patek knew he could not get Rivers at first. Tried to get Stanley at second. Rojas tried to cheat. He cheated too much. Came off the bag. Stanley safe. So a base hit for Rivers. His second of the ball game. Whitey Herzog makes a quick trip to the mound and now comes back. Gura grabs the rosin bag and slams it down. So the Yankee speed results in another base hit and a threat with 2 outs. Roy White the batter. Roy has walked, grounded out, flied to right, and grounded out again. Stanley at second, Rivers at first take their leads. And the first pitch to White. Outside, ball 1. Crowd groans as Gura just missed the corner. They give Roy White the left field foul line territory with the left fielder Walford shaded a bit towards center. Cowan straight away, and so is the right fielder Poquette. Next pitch is lined down the left field line. That's going to be a base hit, be extra bases. All the way to the corner. Here comes Stanley. Here comes Rivers. Roy White goes into second base, standing up with a double, and the Yankees lead 4-1. We had just told you they had given Roy White the left field foul territory corner. Walford had him shaded towards center, and Roy pulled the ball right down the line. So White picks up 2 runs batted in. The Yankees take a 4-1 lead. Whitey Herzog takes a walk, and a new pitcher will be making his way to the mound.
Get the great range of Budget. Budget and the car.
Great news. Budget is now located in Manhattan and Queens. Reserve your car today by calling 541-4222 or look for Budget in the Yellow Pages. Mention the Yankees and get a 5% discount. Participating locations in Manhattan and Queens only. The offer is good only until October 7th, 1976.
The great range of Budget and the car.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for the Royals, number 17, Mark Littell.
I see nothing but a bird by the railroad. Right back up the ball. You know what's all
Well, the new pitcher for the Kansas City Royals is right-hander Mark Littell, and as he warms up, we'll pause. 15 seconds for station identification on the New York Yankee Home of Champions radio network.
WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. This is Mel Allen. Don't ship a package with an air freight company. Ship it with an air freight system. Emery, the shortest distance between 2 points.
If you would have trouble on the elevator for one reason, the stairs are open.
Mark Littell, during the regular season, won 8 and lost 4. He made 60 appearances, only 1 start, and he also had 16 saves, which led the Royals bullpen. He worked 104 innings, 68 base hits, allowed only 1 home run. He walked 60, struck out 92, and he pitched to a very fine earned run average of 2.08. So right-hander Mark Littell now on to pitch for the Kansas City Royals with Thurman Munson stepping in. 2 outs, 2 runs in the bank. The Yankees leading 4-1, and Roy White camped out at second base. Munson is single to center, grounded out to short, popped to first, and lined out to the shortstop Patek. Lou Piniella is on deck. And as they did White, they give Munson the left field corner, with Walford shaded a bit toward center. Another gap in right field. They bunch the outfielders in toward Collins. Walford in left, Poquette in right. The stretch by the right-hander Mark Littell. And his first pitch to Thurman, foul back, and that will be back toward the screen. Let's see, Martinez cannot, or rather, Woffin cannot get to it. Just on the screen. No balls, 1 strike on Munson. 2 outs, White at second. Yankees lead 4-1. Yankees got 2 in the first on a couple of base hits, a walk, 2 throwing errors by the third baseman Brett, and 2 more here in the ninth with 2 outs. 0-1 pitch. Foul back on the right side in the crowd. Roy White back to tag up at second base. Walks off his lead. Checks the defense. No balls and 2 strikes on Munson. Littell drops the hands. And the pitch, high. Munson had stepped out, now back in again. Littell takes lots of time. Right-hander holds the set. The kick and the pitch. Fastball is fouled. That'll be back out of play. Again, Woffin, the catcher, comes back, but no chance. Starting a ball game as early as they did here in Kansas City has to be awfully tough on the left fielder, the shortstop, third baseman, the bright, bright sun. And in addition to the sun today, the wind definitely a factor in the game. Littell ready. Checks White at second. And the pitch to Munson. Low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Worked the slider down and away from him. Catfish Hunter has gone all the way for the Yankees, and now he has a little more breathing room. The Yankees leading by a score of 4-1. Two ball, 2 strike pitch to Thurman. He hits it on the ground right at the shortstop. Potak is up with it. Guns on to first base to retire the side. But the Yankees come up with 2 runs on 3 hits and leave a man. At the end of 8.5 to score. The Yankees 4 and the Royals 1.
12 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned.
If money, come on into HFC. Is there something you want that would make your life a whole lot easier, more enjoyable? An HFC shopper's loan could be the best way to get it. Come on in and ask about a shopper's loan. Household finance, an equal opportunity lender.
So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
A great Italian family of food products is waiting to meet you. The name is Polio. You can meet them on the shelves of your favorite market, in the dairy department, the delicatessen. Polio de cotta and mozzarella cheese, tomatoes and mushrooms, peppers and pepperoni, whatever. All really great Italians. All the help you need to make your dishes memorably, deliciously Italian. Today, get related to a great Italian family of food products. They're pleased to meet you. Polio.
Get to know Polio.
Well, Catfish Hunter in the 9th inning will face Bob Stinson to lead off. Stinson is a switch hitter, one of 3 catchers the Royals have. Stinson, of course, will be batting left-handed, and he is more proficient as a left-hand hitter, batting .267. Overall this year, he hit .263.
Please.
Came up only 22 times as a right-hand batter.
Batting for the catcher, Watson. Number
Stinson, 209 at bats, 55 base hits, 7 doubles, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Hunter winds, and the first pitch to him is foul back out of play. Jim Wolford is on deck. And then George Brett. Yankees lead 4-1. Hunter's next pitch, breaking ball, is pulled foul outside of first. Flagged down by Steve Boris, the first base coach. I'll tell you, if anybody had any doubts about Catfish Hunter's arm, they were dispelled this afternoon. There's the wind and the 0-2 pitch, high and away. Hunter wasted a fastball. Rivers very shallow again in center field. White is shallow in left. Maddox straight away in right. Infield plays him up the middle, and the 1-2 pitch, foul back. Crowd of 41,077, the largest ever to see a Major League Baseball game in Kansas City. Some start the rhythmic applause. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit in the air to left field. Roy White coming on in shallow left, fighting the sun. Now Stanley, now White, and White makes the catch. White and Stanley almost got crossed up on the play. And White made the catch.
Jim Wolford.
That'll bring on Jim Wolford. One out, nobody on. The Yankees lead 4-1. Wolford, right-hand batter, 0 for 2. He takes low ball 1. He was called out on strikes his first time up, then flied to right. He had to come in when Otis was hurt in the first inning. 1-0 deal. Line drive out toward right center field. Rivers is on his horse. And Maddox makes the catch in front of him. Mickey Rivers crossing quickly to his right, and Maddox cut in front of him to pull it in. There are 2 down.
The third baseman, George Brett.
George Brett will be the batter. Brett lost a base hit on a good play by Greg Nettles in the first inning, singled in the fourth for the first hit of the ball game off Catfish, and then singled in the seventh. He has 2 of the 4 Royal base hits. Left-hand batter, Hunter's first pitch, strike called over the outside corner.
Report to security, please.
George Brett, the American League batting champion, at 333. Next pitch coming, high. Hal McRae, who finished second in the American League batting race, is on deck. 1-1 pitch. High again. 2 balls and a strike. Hal McRae batting 332, finished with the highest average for any right-hand batter in the last 17 years in the American League. 2-1 pitch. Foul back. Count evens 2-2. 2 outs and nobody on. The Yankees lead it 4-1. Hunter bends down for the sign. Still looking in. He shakes Munson off, and now Brett will step out. Brett very adept at hitting to the left side. Roy White plays him a shallow left field. 2-2 pitch. Line drive out of the left. That'll be a base hit. White has to play it on the first hop. So the Royals are still alive with a 2-out single by George Brett, his 3rd hit of the ball game. The batter is Hal McRae. Yankees lead at 4-1. Chris Chambliss tells Catfish he's going to play halfway or behind the base runner Brett. McRae is 0 for 3, struck out twice and popped up. Right-hand batter and the pitch. He bunts. Down the third base side, starts out foul and stays foul. That ball was twisting and turning, and Nettles finally raced in and grabbed it about 6 inches in foul territory. The way it started out, it could have kicked back. Was McRae trying to put himself on and let Mayberry come up to the tying run in the ballgame. Brett back to first base. Hunter is ready to work off the stretch and set position. Drops the hands. Here's the pitch. Line drive caught by Nettles, and the ball game is over. Line drive. Nettles went about 6 inches up in the air and speared it to retire the side, and a happy Yankee bench charges on the field to congratulate Catfish Hunter. So the Yankees have already accomplished what they wanted to do here in Kansas City, and that is at least win one of these games. Now they have a chance to win both of them, with Ed Figueroa going tomorrow. Here in the 9th inning for the Royals, no runs, a base hit. There were no Yankee errors, no man left. I'll be back with the totals and the recap for you in just 1 minute.
Yes, it's the time to say yes. At George Chrysler Plymouth Theater.
Sure is easy to say yes to the affordable Chrysler Cordova any time of the year. But right now, it's the end of the model year, and that means you can get a clearance deal on a luxurious Cordova. Sound good to you?
Yes, yes, it's the time to say yes. At George Chrysler Plymouth Theater.
And Cordova is one personal midsize luxury car that has a lot going for it, like many standard luxuries. No wonder Cordova is the most successful Chrysler ever introduced. And right now, you can get a clearance deal that'll put you behind the wheel of a luxurious Chrysler Cordova.
Yes, yes, it's the time to say yes. At George Chrysler Plymouth Theater.
This is your clearance deal at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Yes.
Well, here are the totals on the ball game for you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Yankees, 4 runs, 12 hits, no errors. They left 8 men on base. And for the Kansas City Royals, 1 run, 5 hits. They committed 2 errors and left 2 men on base. Catfish Hunter all the way for the win. He did not walk anybody. And Catfish in the ball game struck out 5 men. The losing pitcher, of course, Larry Gura. who had a rough first inning. A couple of throwing errors by his third baseman, George Brett, allowed the Yankees to score 2 runs. The Yankees added 2 insurance runs in the 9th inning after 2 men were out. Fred Stanley got his third base hit of the ball game. Mickey Rivers got an infield hit, and Roy White brought both men in with a line drive double down into the left field corner. So Larry Gura takes the loss, Catfish Hunter gets the win, and the Yankees are 1-up in a best-of-5 series. So a big win, a great psychological lift for the Yankees this afternoon, and by the same token, it has to be a tremendous psychological letdown for the Kansas City Royals. The Royals just have to be thinking about the dismal finish they had during the regular season, winning only 2 of their last 11 games, while the Yankees kept on winning right down to the end, even though they had the Eastern Division locked up. So Game 2 tomorrow will feature Ed Figueroa, right-hander who won 19 games for the Yankees this year, and for the Kansas City Royals, it will be right-hander Dennis Leonard, and Leonard had 17 wins for the Royals, the most for any pitcher on their staff. Shapes up as a good pitching matchup, and we'll have all the action for you starting at 8:10. So that's the story in the first game this afternoon. The Yankees really out-defensed the Royals. Some outstanding plays by the Yankees by Greg Nettles as usual. A great play, one of the key plays in the ball game, I think, came on the very first batter in the very first inning as the Royals were up. Amos Otis, noted for his speed, dropped what looked like a perfect bunt down the third base side of the pitcher's mound. Nettles was playing back, could never have made a play on the ball. Catfish Hunter bounced off the mound and threw him out. Then Nettles came up with a fine play on Brett, smothering his ball and throwing him out. Another outstanding play in the second inning by Willie Randolph. A ball hit by Tom Poquette, deflected by Catfish Hunter. Randolph, who had started to his right to field the ball, had to break back to his left, still threw the man out. Thurman Munson threw out 2 base runners trying to steal. George Brett in the 4th inning. And Fred Patek in the 8th. True, Patek was thrown out on a pitch out, but still, it takes a perfect throw to get him. Meanwhile, the Royals, just unfortunately from their standpoint, had the 2 throwing errors by the third baseman, Brett. He did make some outstanding plays otherwise, but the Yankees win it by a score of 4-1. Well, we'll tell you the executive producer of Yankee Baseball is Mike DiTomaso. The associate producer is Enos Carneseca, and our engineer has been Dan Bartolucci. Lines and network facilities were arranged by the Robert Wold Company. Our next Yankee playoff broadcast will be tomorrow when the Yankees meet Kansas City here at Royal Stadium. Airtime will be 8:10 p.m. Join us in the on-deck circle at 8. Until then, this is Frank Messer along with Phil Rizzuto and Bill White saying so long from Royal Stadium in Kansas City. Once again, the final score, the New York Yankees 4 and the Kansas City Royals 1.
Today's game has been brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth. It's the year to say yes to Motor Trend's Car of the Year, Chrysler Plymouth Volare. By Gabriel. No matter what you drive, no matter how you drive, there's a Gabriel shock for you. Gabriel, King of the Road. By Colonial Yankee Frank. The only Franks sold at Yankee Stadium are now available at supermarkets everywhere. By Schaefer Beer. Go out and get a Schaefer and be Schaefer people too. By Household Finance. A good place to borrow money. By Getty Premium and new Getty Unleaded Regular. The higher octane gasoline with the lower prices. And by Lincoln Savings Bank, the bank who makes friends for life. The Lincoln Savings Bank in Brooklyn, Queens, Nassau, and Manhattan.
WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York. This is Mel Allen. Instead of having a fleet of planes, Emory has a fleet of airlines. Emory Air Freight, the shortest distance between 2 points.
Now at Alexander there's a new shopping day. How lucky can you get? Now at Alexander Sunday is the new day. How lucky can you get?
Yes, this
there's a new shopping day at Alexander's Sunday, and all Alexander's stores except New Jersey and Connecticut are open this Sunday from noon to 5:30 with super special buys. For example, save up to 50% on fabulous winter coats, just $49.99. Junior fashion coats with hoods or fake fur trims worth $75 to $80, now $49.99. And Mrs. Beautiful pant coats with genuine rabbit fur trims selling at $100 elsewhere, also just $49.99. Sunday, when all Alexander stores except New Jersey and Connecticut are open noon to 5:30 with super special buys. That's this Sunday at Alexander's.
Now at Alexander, Sunday is the new day. Wow! How lucky can you get?
Arnie, I can prove I know more about sports than you.
You're crazy, Frank.
Hey, I'm serious.
So am I.
All right, ask me 4 questions, I'll get them all right.
What's the record for the most field goals in football in a lifetime?
907.
335, Frank.
Well, 3 out of 4 isn't bad.
The record for water skiing?
Easy, 17 miles.
1,000 miles.
Close, though, eh?
The speed of the world's fastest pitch?
50 miles per hour.
100.9.
But that's in clear weather. It's 50 in a blizzard.
Frank, call Sports Phone. Besides reading the paper and listening to the radio, I dial 212-999-1313 for all the scores, late-breaking sports news, interviews with players and coaches, and the famous Quickie Quiz.
One more.
Who stole the most bases in a lifetime?
Babe Ruth.
Ty Cobb.
Right. Babe Ruth was his stage name.
Oh, Frank.
New York telephone Sports Phone. 212-999-1313. It's where sports know-it-alls learn it all. Sports Phone is a service mark of Sports Phone Incorporated.
Rouse Communications in New York.
Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen with a little post-game patter and chatter. And if time permits, we're going to like to hear from you and get your ideas on the first playoff game between the Yankees and the Kansas City Royals. Remember, here on WMCA Radio Dialogue, the number is 489-1155 when we get to that. And it's all going to be brought to you by Getty Premium and new Getty Unleaded Regular. The higher octane gasolines with the lower prices. Well, that was an exciting ball game. The Yankees now are in pretty good position. You can look at it any way you want to. I can remember when the Yankees were down in the World Series 3-1, and in one of the rarities in the history of baseball, I think it's only the second time it ever happened, they came back and won 3 in a row. But as the situation now stands, the visiting team would like to divide the opening 2 games of a playoff or a World Series and then come home where they play the 3 games. So in this instance now, it's not a case of the best 3 out of 5. For the Yankees, it's a case of winning 2 out of 4. In other words, if they can play 500 ball, they've got it. But they can't afford to play 500 ball in the sense of losing. Well, I guess that's right. In other words, they win 2, win 1 tomorrow, and they'd only need 1 more after that when they get back to Yankee Stadium. So in other words, they only need 2 games out of the remaining 4 in order to win the American League pennant. And then they'll be going against the winner of the series between Cincinnati and Philadelphia, which gets underway tonight. That was a very interesting game today, and Catfish Hunter was the old Catfish Hunter today, as the Yankees won it by a score of 4-1. That 4-1 score doesn't really tell the story in the event all of you listening in were not with us from the very beginning. The Yankees got 2 runs off Larry Gura. Larry, of course, was most interested in trying to not only win the game for the sake of putting on a good show, a good performance. He had, as he indicated, an additional reason. He wanted to beat Billy Martin, because, as you know, Billy Martin had him twice, once down in Texas and once with the Yankees, and traded him away. And Larry Gura pitched a magnificent game, but he got into trouble in the very first inning. And, of course, that was a key play from the Yankees' offensive standpoint, and showed again the reason the Yankees won the pennant. One of the reasons they won the pennant on speed. Because Rivers led off, hit a ball down toward George Brett at third, and he got himself a base hit. Then White drew a base on balls off Gura, who was pitching very carefully, mixing up his fastball, and which is not terribly overpowering, but a good fastball. It was moving today, along with his curves, his change-ups. You could see that he was a confident man and a determined man. A left-hand pitcher, and he pitched to Munson with 2 men on, and Thurman ripped a single to center, but Rivers was unable to score on it, and that left the bases loaded. And so up came Lou Piniella, the designated hitter. And at that point, the ball game really got turned around. Piniella struck out. And so as the crowd roared out at Royal Stadium, some 41,077, the largest crowd ever to watch a game in Kansas City, in Royal Stadium, thought that Larry Gura might be getting out of the situation because the left-hand hitter was coming up. Chambliss, though he's a dangerous man, still was a left-hand hitter. And so you had a left-hand pitcher pitching against a left-hand batter. Well, Chambliss at this point hit a ground ball to Brett. Brett stepped on third for the second out of the inning, and then, of course, Rivers was racing toward the plate. Brett threw the ball over to first, hoping for the inning-ending double play, but threw the ball away, so that 2 runs scored on the error. Rivers and Munson scored, and the Yankees got 2 runs. So they got 2 hits, 2 runs in the first inning, and left 2 men on base. And Catfish Hunter, with that lead, began to work. And boy, did he work. As a matter of fact, I checked my scorecard, he got the first 3 men out in each of the first 3 innings. In the 4th inning, he gave up his first hit to the American League's leading hitter of the year, George Brett, who wound up at 3 hits. But Brett was cut down stealing. A beautiful throw by Munson. They knew he was going, called for a pitch out, down went the throw, they got him. And so Catfish Hunter got out of the inning pitching only to 3 men. So that over the first 4 innings, though he had allowed the hit in the 4th, he still had pitched to the minimum number of men, 12. He got 3 men out in order in the 5th. He got 3 men out in order in the 6th. His control was magnificent. His changes of pace had the Kansas City Royal batters more or less baffled. And then came the 7th inning. George Brett got his 2nd hit after 1 was away. But Catfish Hunter still didn't let that bother him because he'd already retired the first batter and got the next 2 after the base hit. Then in the 8th inning, John Mayberry, though he's had a low batting average, still has power, opened the inning and got a triple. The first man in the ball game to open an inning against Jim Hunter with a base hit. Well, the first man actually to get on base to start an inning. He tripled to right center and scored on an infield out. The infield played back. They gave up the run because the Yankees were leading 2-0 to prevent perhaps a larger inning. And Catfish bore down, got the next 2 men, and then Freddie Pottick, who can always be trouble. He's a wonderful little shortstop, both defensively and then in the clutch, he gets a piece of that ball. And he ripped a single to left. He stole 51 bases this year. Munson knew it, Again, they were ready, and on the first pitch, there was the pitch out there, and they fired down a beautiful throw by Munson, the tag by Stanley, and that retired the Royals and ended their threat. Then came the ninth inning, and the Yankees finally got to Gura, who, after retiring the first two men, gave up a base hit to Fred Stanley. As John Sterling and I were talking before the game, you never know who will be the star in a short series. Generally, it's somebody you think would never be. In this particular case, Fred Stanley got 3 of the Yankees' total of 12 hits. And so with 2 down, he got a single to left. Nobody thought that would amount to too much until Rivers, again with his speed, hit a ball to Paddock at short, who could never have gotten Rivers. Tried to get Stanley at second for the force, failed to do that. Rivers was credited with a base hit, and then one of the nicest guys on any ball club in the major leagues, Roy White, has been with the Yankees some 10 years. After failing to hit prior thereto, though he walked on 4 pitches in the first inning, unleashed a double to left. And that drove in Stanley and Rivers and gave Catfish Hunter a 4-1 edge that he worked with very easily and nicely in the 9th inning, giving up only 1 hit, and that was to George Brett, the American League's leading hitter, who got 3 of the 5 hits that the Kansas City Royals obtained during the game. Through the first 8 innings, as a matter of fact, to give you an idea of what a wonderful game Catfish Hunter did pitch, he faced only 26 men. Normally, the minimum would be 24. But of course, there was a double play in there, men caught stealing, and he pitched a really super game. And so, the second game will be played tomorrow evening as the National and American League rotate. As you know, Philadelphia and Cincinnati will be playing tonight. And tomorrow, Kansas City and the Yankees will be playing tomorrow night. Philadelphia and Cincinnati tomorrow afternoon. John Sterling and I will be on tomorrow evening at 7:15, and we hope you'll be tuned in. And then after the game, I'll be back on. I'd like to talk a little bit more about today's game, and I'd like to hear what some of you have to say about it right after this message.
If you're like most buyers of regular gasoline, you probably think unleaded gasolines just don't perform. Sure, unleaded gives you a nice, clean engine, but it just doesn't have the pep of your regular, or for that matter, the low price. Well, you regular buyers are in for a little surprise. Introducing Getty Unleaded Regular. Getty's unleaded gasoline has a high enough octane to be classified a regular. Most unleadeds don't. Yet Getty Unleaded Regular actually sells for a couple of cents less per gallon than most other major no-legs. So if you want the octane performance of regular and the clean running smoothness of unleaded for a couple of cents less per gallon, you want Getty Unleaded Regular, Getty Premium, and now Getty Unleaded Regular. We've got what's best for your car.
Remember our number here at WMCA, Strauss Communications, Radio Dialogue is 489-1155. We'll be taking some calls in a moment or two. I'd like to tell you that in the way of statistics, this was the 4th playoff game that Catfish Hunter has won in his career. He'd lost 2. His World Series record was considerably better, 4 wins and no losses. Larry Gura, of course, this was his first opportunity, and I want to take nothing away from Larry. But for the errors in the first inning, and that can change an entire ball game around. It changes your pattern of pitching. There's no telling what might have happened. We might have still been playing ball. I just wondered how some of you folks felt about it, and you have our number, 489-1155. Let's take our first call. Hello there.
Well, Mel?
Yes.
How you doing?
Fine.
I wanted to speak to you about Contact stealing second base. What are your feelings about that play?
About which play?
About Contact trying to steal second base when they had a timing run on first.
Well, don't forget, he tried it on the first pitch, didn't he?
Right.
And he's stolen 51 bases during the year. There were 2 outs. And you have to, it's a game of percentage. Whitey Herzog is a very brilliant manager. I've known Whitey ever since he was with the Yankees. He didn't play with the Yankees, but he was signed by the Yankees, and got to know him in spring training. Of course, he made his reputation later on with the Mets, you know, and in the front office. And then he moved on from there and finally was signed by Kansas City to become their manager. He's a really an outstanding fellow insofar as his baseball knowledgeability is concerned. But any manager with a great base stealer with 2 outs, 1 run behind that late in the ball game, the shock surprise of sending the guy on the very first pitch sometimes will help the base runner. And once he's on second base, now that changes the pattern of pitching to the batter. And all you need is just a little blooper. Just think back to the World Series last year when in the 7th game, a great ball player still facing an outstanding pitcher of the Red Sox, and I'm talking about Morgan. He just got a little piece of the ball, but it was just enough of a blooper out past second, and that drove in the winning run. But he had to get down to second base to be in scoring position. It was a good thing to do.
With what you're saying, that would make Thurman Munson a genius then, right? And calling for a pitch out.
Oh yes. Why do you think Munson called for the pitch out? I don't say that he was a genius. It just shows that he knows his baseball.
Right.
For that matter, it could have been Billy Martin signaling, you know, call for a pitch out.
Right.
This is something that you find out definitely after a game is over when you get into the clubhouse. Did you, Billy, call for the pitch out? Did Munson do it? Sometimes the pitcher may flash a signal to the catcher.
Mm-hmm.
There are little tip-offs here and there, but you always have to be respect a man who's stolen 51 bases, seldom been thrown out during the course of the year, 1 run behind, 2 outs, and the first game of a playoff. You've got to take that chance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.
Same here.
Hello there, this is Mel Allen.
Yes, Mel. The TV sponsors have made the baseball teams play some of the games at night now, and when we get into the 4th and 5th game of a playoff, or maybe even the 4th or 5th game of a World Series, especially on the East Coast, night games are going to be very cold. And do you believe that it is good for the game? Because I've played ball, and I've known many ball players who played late fall in cool weather, especially pitchers who have come up lame after pitching a hard game at night in the fall.
Well, let me tell you this. In general, I think that in all sports, we're getting too much of an overlap from one sport to another. Here you have pro football starting in July. I don't mean the actual playing of games, but they start their training. And while the baseball season reaches its peak, let's say in August, pro football, they're starting to play exhibition games. Now you got hockey. And basketball. They're starting their so-called spring training. It's just too much of an overlap in all sports. I think it ought to be like it used to be, where there was a definite conclusion one season, the beginning of another.
Yeah, but do you believe that this overlap has been caused by television? Now, the season ended last Sunday, and we don't start the playoffs until the following Saturday, and basically because television networks want to get a bigger share of the audience for the weekend games.
I agree with you. I think that The World Series ought to have been over by now.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it was just in the paper the other day where they celebrated Lawson's perfect game.
Right.
The anniversary of Lawson's perfect game, which was the end of the series, and that was in the end of September, not the first weekend in October.
Well, it was very early October, you know, like...
right, but now we're going to be talking about...
the World Series didn't even start till the 16th of October.
This year?
A week from Saturday. You're right, I agree with you.
Okay, fine, Mel. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. And
bye-bye.
Thank you for calling. This is Mel Allen with Postgame Patter on Radio Dialogue WMCA, and we'll be talking to you talking to us in just a moment.
If you buy unleaded gasoline, you may have noticed that lead isn't the only thing missing. It's probably pretty low on performance, too. That's because most unleadeds just don't have a high enough octane rating to give you the performance you want, the performance you used to get from your regular. In fact, according to standards set by the American Society for Testing and Materials, the people who set gasoline standards used by the federal and state governments, only 3 unleaded gasolines have a high enough octane to be called regular. To help you choose between these 3, one of them usually sells for less. Getty. Getty Unleaded Regular gives you the clean running engine you expect from an unleaded, plus the octane performance you want. And you pay less than you would for most other major unleadeds. Now think a minute. Why settle for an unleaded gasoline that's below regular when you can get one that's regular? Getty Unleaded Regular. Once again, we've got what's best for your car.
Just want to remind you, friends, that the Chicago Blackhawks with Bobby Orr play the Islanders tonight, and John Sterling will be coming on the air with his description of all that activity and action and excitement at 7:45 this evening right here on WMCA, so be sure and be tuned in, won't you? In the meantime, let's tune you in, see what you have to say about today's baseball game. Hello there.
Hello, Mel.
Yes.
Well, it's good hearing your voice, plus this beautiful victory today.
Yes, it was.
And I'm just like an old-time Yankee. And it's a great, great feeling. And all I want to do is add one little thing to it, Mel, just to tell you that my name is Harry Morse. Keep it up.
Thank you, Harry. I don't know whether they allow you to mention your entire name, but I recognize your voice anyway. Thank you for calling.
It's been beautiful.
Thank you, buddy. 489-1155. Radio Dialogue, WMCA. Hello?
Hello, Mel?
Yes.
I enjoyed the game today, and
it was a marvelous game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the Yankees played nearly flawless today. It was one of the best games they've played all year. I'm not really a Yankee fan, but
that's all right.
You have to root for New York to get in the World Series again.
I didn't hear your last statement. You have to what?
You have to like New York to get into the World Series, any New York team.
You have to like New York?
Well, you want New York to get in there, you know, because whether it's the Mets or the Yankees, putting...
Right. As long as you live in a town, this is the way with most people, you'd like to see the baseball team or hockey team or basketball team or whatever it may be that represents your city do well. Now, New York City is a little bit different than most cities in this regard. It being the largest city in this nation, and I started to say in the world, but I think Tokyo probably is a little larger now as far as total population. But I can remember when baseball first started its expansion program. You take a town like Los Angeles, even though it was the movie capital of the world, they still didn't feel like they were a real big league city until they got the Dodgers out there and got big league baseball. Then they felt they were on a par with anybody. The same is true of Kansas City. Kansas City was a tremendous metropolis in the Middle West, but until they got big league baseball, they felt like they were, you know, a AAA town.
Right.
But once they got it, it just simply perked up everybody mentally.
Right. Now, I wanted to ask you about a play in the first inning.
Yes.
There were 2 balls hit to George Brett. Now, there was one when he could have gotten a double play. He stepped on third, and he threw to first, and he threw the ball. He threw the ball away.
Yeah.
I'm thinking George Brett has never been in a playoff at all. He's never really been in postseason play. Now, you got Brooks Robinson. He's 40 years old. I think if he was playing third base today, I don't think he would have made any of those errors. I think what happened to Brett was it's the first game of a playoff, and he knows that Rivers is a speedy man, and it sort of plays tricks on the mind. The game was all psychological today.
Well, I appreciate what you're trying to say, but let's put it this way. As you watched, did you watch the game on television, or did you listen to it on? It doesn't matter, but my point being is that even if you watched it on television, you did not see the entire field.
Right.
Remember, Rivers broke with the bases loaded.
Right.
With a crack of that bat, he's off and running. Brett had to field the ball. When you take your eye off a ball, you can lose it. He had to field the ball. In his mind, he knew Rivers' speed. He knew Rivers had a pretty good lead. He knew he had the one out at third. All he had to do was step on third and throw to first. This is the play that a Brooks Robinson or anyone else would have made.
Right.
Only his throw just wasn't a good throw. And I don't think it was nervousness. He just perhaps hurried his throw a little bit, or it could have slipped. This is something you find out when a game is over and can get down to the clubhouse and ask him exactly what happened. Otherwise, you and I could speculate all day. But I don't think it had anything to do with nervousness. After all, he got himself 3 base hits.
Right, he did have one of the best days other than Fred Stanley. Fred Stanley is like what you were talking about, an unlikely hero. He got a double and 2 singles. He wouldn't normally do that.
Well, this is why John and I were talking before the game started. Who is going to be the hero of a playoff series or a World Series? So often it's not the big stars. It's the most unlikely candidate you could possibly pick out.
Right. Okay, thanks a lot, Mel.
My pleasure.
Take it easy.
And don't forget to call us here at WMCA Radio Dialogue, number 489-1155. And if you live out of this 212 area code, dial 212 first. And we'll be talking to you again right after this message.
Recently, a survey was taken of the prices of premium gasoline. The survey covered hundreds of service stations in the northeastern United States. Virtually every major oil company was included. Right now, I'd like to tell you the results of that survey. In Portland, Maine, Getty Premium sold for less per gallon. In Boston, Getty Premium sold for less. In northern New Jersey, Philadelphia, and New York, Getty Premium sold for less. In fact, in every state where Getty gasoline is sold, the survey showed Getty Premium sold for less per gallon than most major premiums. More premium gas for your money. That has to be the best mileage ingredient you can buy. So the next time you pull in for gas, pull in for Getty Premium gasoline. Getty. Once again, we've got what's best for your car.
This is Mel Allen with postgame patter. The Yankees winning the first game of their playoff series with the Kansas City Royals, who dominated the Yankees in their head-to-head season play during the regular season. But Catfish Hunter showed you why the Yankees wanted him today. He was just absolutely magnificent. I hope he can stay that way, and I hope the tendonitis, which bothered him all year, disappears. Larry Gura pitched a great game. He suffered as a result of the Yankees' speed by Rivers, a walk to White, a base hit by the new old reliable, Thurman Munson. I'll pause there for a moment because I had the pleasure of naming Tommy Henry, old reliable, several years ago. A lot of people have asked me about that, and the only reason it just popped into my mind one day, you know, railroads have names, nicknames. It's like the Santa Fe from Chicago to Los Angeles. It's called the Chief, their best train. And so we named Allie Reynolds the Chief, he being part Indian. And then when he pitched his 2 no-hitters in 1 year, we changed it to Super Chief because they had built a new luxury train from Chicago to Los Angeles. There is a train that goes from Cincinnati to New Orleans, the L&N, Louisville and Nashville, and they have a nickname called Old Reliable. And being aware of that, having grown up in that area, I just popped that name to him one day. And Thurman Munson's been that kind of a fellow this year, and that's why George Steinbrenner named him the team captain, the first one the Yankees have ever had since the great late Lou Gehrig. And then George Brett, unfortunately, made a throwing error that got Gura in trouble. But Gura pitched a surprisingly good game. He was determined. He had his stuff. He had good control. But it was tough for him to overcome that 2-run deficit the way Catfish Hunter was pitching, and finally the pressure caught up with him in the 9th inning after 2 were away. But let's take a call now. Our number, 489-1155. Hello there.
Oh, Mo.
Yes.
Oh, Mo.
Would you turn your radio down?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Well, while you're doing that, we're going to let the folks listen to this message, but you stay right where you are, and I'll come right back to you, okay?
Julius drives up court. A lead for Brian. His left side jumper is bullseye.
That's the excitement of play-by-play sports, and WMCA has more exciting play-by-play than anyone else. The New York Yankees, the champion New York Nets, the New York Islanders, Monday Night NFL football, the NFL playoffs, the nation's #1 college football team, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, plus New York, New Jersey college basketball and the National Invitation Tournament. Play-by-play, day by day, at Real People Radio.
WMCA, New York, New York.
By electronic journalism, the voice of my favorite sports announcer in WMCA's John Sterling, who will be on tonight out on Long Island when the Chicago Blackhawks with Bobby Orr played the Islanders. He'll be on the air at 7:45, so don't forget to tune in. Our post-game patter is being brought to you by Getty Premium and new Getty Unleaded Regular. The higher octane gasolines with the lower prices. Are you still on the phone, sir?
Yes, I am. I want to talk to Mo.
You're talking to him.
Mo.
Yes.
I've been a fan of yours for years and
Thank you.
years and years.
Thank you.
My name is Tony Mastandri. Tony Mastandri.
Okay, Tony.
Listen, Mo.
Yes.
I think today's game was all catfish.
You're right.
All catfish.
Wasn't he magnificent?
Yes.
His control was great.
It's magnificent.
He worried me a few times when his balls started rising up.
Yes.
Of course, there are certain hitters who can't hit high balls.
Yeah. And of course...
They can drink them, but they can't hit them.
George Brett, that double error he made, that didn't help matters any. But I'm glad to see the Yankees won, you know? I want to tell you one thing, Mo. The greatest baseball announcer that I ever heard was you. You, Phil Rizzuto, and Jerry Coleman.
Thank you very much. I sure appreciate your calling.
And believe me, Mo, I would like to see you back, old buddy.
You never can tell. Good health to you, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you very much.
Okie doke. Hello there.
Hello.
WMCA.
Hello,
This is Mel
Mel.
Allen. Yes, how are you?
Okay, fine. I didn't get a chance to see the game today, but there's a question I'd like to ask you.
Right.
Now, when I listen to the ball game, it says the batter swings in front of the ball. What does he mean by that?
When the
batter swings at the ball...
When the batter does what?
When the batter swings at the ball.
When the batter swings at the ball.
And the announcer says he's swinging in front of the ball. What does he mean by that?
Well, a batter, let's say a pitcher throws a ball at a given speed.
Right.
85 miles an hour, 90, 95.
100, yeah.
It varies.
Right.
Bob Feller was clocked once by Army Ordnance tests at being able to throw a fastball at 98.5 miles per hour, almost 100 miles an hour.
Right.
Now, he, with the same motion, will throw a fastball, but he will take some of the speed off of it. In other words, we call it in baseball, pulling the string.
Right,
and the batter, thinking it's going to be the same type of pitch that he had just received, he tries to time it on a basis, let's say, of 98.5, and he starts to swing to meet it, but only the pitch is coming in this time, let's say, at 92 miles an hour, and therefore he's out in front, and the ball isn't there, but his bat is already...
He's swinging before a ball is there.
You get my point?
Right. Now,
Good.
One more question.
Right.
What do you mean by a free swinger?
By what?
A free swinger. I heard Phil Rizzuto say that the other night. There was some...
You know, I don't know about our connection, but what? Say that again. What kind of swinger? A free swinger?
F-R-E-E.
A free swinger?
Right.
Oh, that's a guy that just gets up there and swings at anything.
Swings at any, like...
Yeah, takes a big cut, you know. He doesn't try to shorten his swing or try to meet a ball or try to guess what the pitch is. A free swinger is a guy that swings from way back. Okay?
Like Yogi used to do? Like Yogi used to do?
Well, yes, to a great degree, except Yogi, as most hitters are guess hitters, and they kind of have an idea of what's going to be coming.
Right. Okay, Mel, thanks, Scott. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you.
Hope to see you announcing for the Yankees again.
Thank you very much.
Come on, Mel.
This is WMCA Radio Dialogue. Our number is 489-1155. The Yankees won their first game today in the playoff series, beating Kansas City 4-1 behind the magnificent pitching of Catfish Hunter against the exciting pitching as well of young Larry Gura, who started out the season with the Yankees and who was so determined to get even with Billy Martin, so he said. And he might have had a chance under normal circumstances, but for some poor defensive play in the first inning, it got him into a hole, and the Yankees kept him that way and put the clincher on with 2 more in the ninth, 2 in the first and 2 in the ninth. Hello there.
Hello, Mel.
How are you?
Fine.
Oh, by the way, I just want to remind you, Leon Lewis will be coming on at his regular time in about 8 minutes. So those of you waiting for him, don't worry, he'll be right here. In fact, he's walking around here right now. I'm looking at him. I don't know what... He can't hear me, but I can see through the window, and he's reading the paper. He just waved back. Go ahead.
Hi. Before I ask you a question, I would just like to say that you are the greatest announcer I've ever heard in baseball, and I think you always will be.
Well, that's very kind of you.
I'd love to have you back.
Hope you
okay, now
have a happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, and good Lord will always bless you.
Okay.
Good.
I've been a diehard Yankee fan for many, many years. As a matter of fact, I grew up a block away from Yankee Stadium. And I've seen them at their greatest, and I've seen them at their worst.
When you grew up there, it was a different area.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't so bad, no. As a matter of fact, I remember my father used to take me to about 15 games a year when the bleachers were 50 cents, and I loved every second of it.
I don't know how old you are. Sometimes I can tell by the sound of a voice, but did you get
I remember,
see Babe Ruth, or
no,
was it later on?
No, I'm from the days of when Maris and Manta were popping them out like crazy.
The early 60s, late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah, oh,
right.
Anyway, we're having our comeback now. Well, anyway, like I said, I've seen them at their worst, and it's great to see them back up there again. However, in watching them, of course, there are many reasons why they've had such a tremendous success this year, but I think that there's one factor that is most important in their success this year, and that is their defense. Over the long course of a season, that gives you so many games, and I wanted to know your opinion on that. Do you feel that has been one of the real big factors this year?
Well, there's no question about it, because what you've just said is true of any sport. When I first started out, I remember one time Joe McCarthy, who's now 89 years old, God bless him, living up near Buffalo, Lake Tonawanda. I was sitting on the bench, and he knew I was just starting out, and he said, "Son," he said, "you hear and read a lot about my murderer's row." He said, "Don't pay too much attention to that. Sure, we hit a lot of home runs, and we have a lot of great hitters, but," he said, "you know what we went on? Defense." He said, "It's good to have a great offense," but he thought of offense in terms of defense. He said, "Because we're always contending for a pennant, most of the time, and the Yankees, through the years, up through 64 until now, they had that lapse from 64 till now, they were always contending for the pennant if they didn't actually win it. He pointed out that what they want, that the other teams that came in to play them went all out to try and beat the Yankees, even the worst team in the league, like the old St. Louis Browns, because he said that was one way of their making the headlines. And he said, if you look it up, you'll find that we win more games by 1, 2, and 3 runs than most people think we win by, 11-2 and 10-0 and 13-1 and all that sort of thing. And he was quite right about it.
That's right.
And he always believed in great defense. If you hold the other guy to nothing, he said, even if they go all out and do their very best and their pitcher has a great day, my offense is such that maybe I'll have one guy who'll come up about the 8th inning and pop one out over the wall for a home run. That's where the expression 5 o'clock lightning started, because before my time, and a lot of the listeners will remember that the Yankees started their games at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And generally they'd come on late in the game and have these late rallies. But you're absolutely right. Defense is what really wins for you.
Right, and I think it's something that
was proven today.
Yeah, it tends to go unnoticed. When I say defense, I'm not. I mean, of course, pitching is, like they say, 75% of your defense. But that makes the headlines. But I don't think it's the day in, day out fielding of the infielders, the outfielders, the catcher that really gets the highlights. But I think that really makes the difference over the course of a season. And I think the proof of the pudding has been the Baltimore Orioles, who have had such fine teams over the last 10 years, and they've really done it basically on defense, because they've never had the really great hitters and well, they've had some excellent pitching, of course, but the defense really helps the pitching quite a bit too.
Thanks a lot. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
I'll be right back with you folks.
The good sports are on WMCA.
WMCA, we listen to.
Now Howard in the slot on the point. Marshall, the shot is tipped wide. It just went
Fast
wide.
and furious, the New York Islanders. In just 4 years, they've reached the Stanley Cup semifinals 2 years in a row. This year, the Islanders want to mount that final step, the Stanley Cup Finals, and WMCA will be there all year long as the Islanders' voice. Islanders Rangers, Islanders Flyers, Islanders Canadiens. Play-by-play, day-by-day. One more part of WMCA's sports for all season.
WMCA, New York, New York.
That was the voice of John Sterling, and you will hear the voice of John Sterling live this evening on WMCA Radio Dialogue at 7:45 when the Chicago Blackhawks, starring Bobby Orr, will play the Islanders, and John Sterling will be at the microphones. And John and I, by the way, will be back tomorrow evening right here on WMCA at 7:15 when the Yanks and Kansas City play Sunday evening, because Cincinnati and Philadelphia will be playing tomorrow afternoon. They play tonight, weather permitting, down in Philadelphia. Don Gullett is scheduled to go for Cincinnati, and Steve Carlton scheduled to go for the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 hours, the winning pitcher, Jim Catfish Hunter, turning in a magnificent job against an equally determined Larry Gura, who was hopeful of getting even with Billy Martin. He may still yet have his chance. This is Mel Allen saying, so long, everybody.
WMCA, Strauss Communications in New York.
News of the hour, on the hour, from American Information Radio. This is Dan Streeter, and at this hour, President Ford is campaigning in Dallas, and Democratic presidential candidate Jimmy Carter has moved his campaign to Indianapolis. Mr. Ford wore a